welcome to Sonoma.
TNT Sports presents NASCAR. Today, it's the Toyota SaveMart 350 from Infinion Raceway in Sonoma, California. Hi, everybody. Bill Weber along with Wally Dallenbach. Thanks for having us in for the race. Our buddy Kyle Petty is doing double duty today, working with us and trying to win the race as well. He's got his hands full, but there are a number of stories in this field. Let's start up front with the front row of Robbie Gordon and pole sitter Jamie McMurray.
Yeah, that is a big story. I mean, last year, McMurray was up front, and he didn't stay there very long. They got up to the top of the turn. He got in the dirt. He got sideways, and he lost a bunch of positions. I talked to him right before he was going to driver intro, and I said, okay, we're going to replay this on the opening. He goes, no matter what happens, I may not come out leading, but I will be in the top 5 when we exit turn 2.
Those two guys talk to each other before they drop the green here?
They will. I think, you know, there's no reason to force the issue, and that's a really easy place to get in trouble. If the guy on the inside going into 2 locks up a brake, he can take you out if you're on the outside, so they may as well just have a plan going up there.
All right, let's talk about the guys coming from the back of the field, the 24 of Jeff Gordon and the 48 of Jimmy Johnson on a difficult track.
They got their work cut out for them. I mean, you know, Jeff Gordon's got a really good car. We're looking at a lot of wheel lockup here on brakes. I think we're going to see a lot of that today. The way these cars are, the car tomorrow, these cars, you're going to see a lot of front tires lifting up. These cars roll a lot. That's going to cause some problems on braking, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I think Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson both have good cars. If they played smart, strategy-wise, they'll be up towards the front before this race is over.
It's the first race for the new car, the car of tomorrow on a road course, and it comes here in Sonoma, a track renowned for tough turns and not a lot of grip. Johnson and Gordon have to come from the back, a lot of excitement up front, and Kyle in the middle of it all. Hope you enjoy your afternoon. Right now, let's go trackside and get the command for today's race.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the words we've been waiting for. Please welcome back our Grand Marshal, Jerry Rice, and Mike Wells from the Northern California Toyota dealers.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Jerry Rice has been here all weekend and has signed autographs for everybody. If you're trying to raise money through a charity event, you should come to Sonoma and see the Grand Marshal dinner for this race. Rice was fantastic. He even danced. We go racing next.
Welcome to the Toyota SaveMart 350 NASCAR weekend from Infinion Raceway. Toyota and its San Francisco region dealers are pleased to be the sponsor of this awesome event. Toyota celebrating its 50th anniversary of doing business in America, and a weekend like this just makes it all exciting for everyone. We hope that everyone enjoys the race. We know it will be very, very exciting.
The Toyota SaveMart 350 from Infinion Raceway in Sonoma is brought to you by Toyota Moving Forward. By Wendy's, where hamburgers are made to order straight from the grill, so they're hot and juicy right when you order them. Wendy's, that's right. And by the Principal Financial Group. For retirement, investments, insurance, and banking, we'll give you an edge. Another spectacular day in Sonoma, California. Great day to have a race. This is Wally's favorite kind of place. Uphill, downhill, right turns, left turns, and he can drive really fast. And all that's just on the way to the track. Once he gets here, Wally shows us it's not just the muscle, but how well you can hustle your car around the track. That can be your saving grace.
All right, here we are, Infinion Speedway. We're rolling out the Richard Petty driving experience car. My guest this week, Bailey Chase.
Yeah, man.
New TNT drama, Saving Grace, premieres in July. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, boss. Appreciate it.
All right, now, I haven't been around this place in a long time. Bailey. I have never driven a car tomorrow. So I am going to be pretty busy. So I'll tell you what, you just take us through this lap. Oh! I prefer if you kind of talk us through it instead of just scream, so. All right, Bailey, is this your first weekend at a cup race?
Yeah, man, first time.
Well, I understand you were a roommate in high school with Chipper Jones. Is that correct?
That's right.
Well, at least one of you guys made it to the big time. That's a good one. And you were also on several episodes of Ugly Betty, and I can see that. That part probably fits. Uh-huh. You're 2 for 2, big guy. All right, I understand also you're a huge golfer. Yes, I love to hit the links, for sure. Now, I hate golf, so we got nothing to talk about there. I hear you used to be able to drive a car pretty good. What happened? Now, you heard wrong, pal. Never happened.
That came all the way up here.
Blew the car up.
Blew the car up on the first lap. No wonder you got into commentating.
You blew it up on the first lap?
I didn't blow it up. I just overheated it. Blew all the water out, but I didn't blow it up.
That water's important stuff, isn't it? Okay. Let's take a look at the starting grid, starting with the Budweiser Pole Award. Goes to Jamie McMurray's 3rd career pole. Started 2nd here last year. Wiley showed you what happened then. Hopefully that won't happen to Jamie today. His first pole of 2007 and the 8th different driver to win a pole this season. Jamie in the 26, Robbie Gordon in the 7. That's the front row for today's Toyota SaveMart 350.
Row 2, Earnhardt Jr., Morissette. That should be a pretty cool row to watch.
Tony Stewart in row 3 along with Jeff Burton.
Bill Elliott in the 21 car this week alongside Casey Kane.
Take it back to row 5. You'll find Ryan Newman and Clint Boyer.
Next row, Ron Fellows, another guy that gets around this racetrack very well, and Elliott Sadler in the 19 car.
Row 7, there's Bobby Labonte, Kyle Petty's teammate, and Kurt Busch, who has a new crew chief, Pat Trayson, joining the team this week.
Carl Edwards on the inside. On the outside, the 44 car, Dale Jarrett.
And in row 9, Greg Biffle and Martin Truex Jr. take a look at the rest of the starting grid, and Wally's going to see if he can dial up Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. This is Wally up in the booth. You hear me?
Crew member, fan, and official, as we race today, we ask that you protect each and every one of us as we travel to and from the race and back home to our loved ones. We just ask that you help us to use everything that we do to glorify you through all we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, man. You guys be safe on this pit road because they come around that blind corner at you right there, too. You know what I mean? So just be careful right there.
He's talking to his crew job. Give him another shot.
Hey, Kyle. Wally up here in the booth. You hear me?
10-4, man. 10-4.
We'll work on that for you, Wally.
Okay.
You didn't blow up the radio, did you? Maybe ran out of water. You see the rest of the starting grid for today's race. And it's going to unfold in an interesting fashion with that front row. And then you've got Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson starting at the back of the field. Gordon in 41st and Johnson in 42nd. You see the drivers that did not qualify for the race, including Scott Riggs. Driver for Ray Evernham. Long way to come not to make the race. They have to make the trip home. Number of big stories today. Let's get the final thoughts from pit road, and Matt Yoakum leads off.
Bill, you heard KP tell his team that pit road is a little unique and to be careful, and it is. It's really broken up into 2 sections. Now, Ron Fellows, he had a great qualifying effort. He's on the front half. He'll pit in stall number 4. Now, he has a lot of unfinished business in NASCAR. Twice he's come close to finishing second. That was on the road course at the Glen. Today, though, his goal is just be patient and take what it gives him. Now, he did practice yesterday his entry onto pit road several times to try to get down his timing because he feels like the great equalizer. Yes, he's a great road racer, but the great equalizer is being in NASCAR only twice a year. This team thinks this could be the best shot they've ever had at winning a race. To Marty Snyder.
This is an important race for Matt Kenseth. Last week at Michigan, he finished 42nd. That broke a 44-race streak of finishing a race. He had a DNF last week in that race. And he comes to a racetrack where it's really not his best place to have to recover. His best finish at Infinion is 11th. Robbie Reiser told me moments ago, if we finish 11th today, I will be thrilled. But if we do it, it will be because of pit strategy. The car not very fast for Matt, but they think they can make this race on 2 stops. That will be critical. The teams that can make it on 2 stops have the best chance of winning today. Ralph?
It's been a crazy weekend for Denny Hamlin. First, Mr. Sandman got the best of him Saturday morning when he overslept, missing some of the morning practice after getting back to the Bay Area late from the Busch Series event in Milwaukee. He even missed some of the afternoon session because he had to go back to the Busch Series race. But when he got there in his helicopter, no place to land. and then Eric Almirola actually had to start the car. Denny eventually got in the car and won the Busch Series race. So upon returning back here to the Sonoma area about 3 a.m. this morning, it looks like, Lindsay, that maybe the roller coaster ride of a weekend is finally starting to gain momentum for Denny Hamlin.
Ralph, Jeff Gordon has also had a roller coaster ride, but he says not even a rough start to the weekend would end the excitement that he feels over the birth of his daughter. Here's the deal, though. Jeff is going to have to come from 41st all the way up to the front of the pack. His car's good enough. It was third fastest in practice yesterday, but no one has won this race at Sonoma from starting worse than 13th. To Larry Mack.
Well, Lindsay, you heard Marty talk about it. You pretty much heard a lot of the drivers' interviews talking about it. I think this race may not be won by the fastest car, but who can possibly make this race on 2 stops? We come here with 3 less gallons of fuel in the fuel cell than we had a year ago, so trust me, strategy is already started, and old Larry Mack will be working the old calculator from the drop of the green.
That's easy for you to say, buddy. You doing okay, Larry?
In there. I'm going to be okay. I'm digging deep right now.
All right. Way to be a team player. All right, Mr. Good Luck. Try and get a hold of KP.
What's that mean, Mr. Good Luck? Hey, Kyle, this Wally will try it again.
Yeah, can you hear me? We're up here on the hill.
Yep, we can hear you. All right, so what's your plan here?
My plan is to make it through turn 1 and turn 2 right now. And then just kind of get in line, man. Like I said, this is like a motocross start when you start up this hill. These cars are a little bit wider than what I remember last year's cars. These things look wide from the back. But just stay out of trouble all day, man, and put on a show.
Hey, what's your, I mean, you know, after practice and everything, where's your car the best to try to make some passes here today?
You broke up. I'm up here on top of the hill, and you know how this place is. The farther away you get from down there where you guys are in that nice air-conditioned booth, which that's not where I'm at today. And I miss you guys down there. But everybody's a passenger today, man. Hopefully we'll take along everybody today.
All right. Field's already been given the 1 to go here. We'll be checking in with Kyle throughout the afternoon here in Sonoma. 110 laps. And that pit window, you know, it all depends on who you ask, because some guys told us this morning that maybe they can get to 40 laps. Now, sometimes they tell you things that aren't exactly 100% true, but we'll see. We will see guys pit early here. I think that's probably going to happen. And then it's, you know, you got to try and run the race backwards and make sure you're in the proper position for those last 35 or 30 laps based on fuel.
Yep, a lot of things that come into play. I mean, the cautions and everything. I mean, you know, your car's got to be halfway decent where you don't need to come in and make adjustments. I mean, I hate to look at a race that way, and I think a lot of these guys do, especially in the back, because they've got to gain that track position, so they're looking at it. I think right now these guys up front are just thinking about going fast and winning the race.
First race for the new car, the car of tomorrow on a road course. We've seen it on the ovals, but not on a road course until this weekend. It has proven to be a challenge for even the best stock car drivers in the world. See how it plays out this afternoon under sunny skies in Sonoma. 43 cars ready to take the green flag. Jamie McMurray and Robbie Gordon will take them there. Thanks for having us in for the race on TNT. Stewart off the track. There go the positions. Started fifth.
Wow, there goes a lot of positions. That's the thing, you go off the track just like McMurray did last year. On the start, you're going to lose 15, 20 spots before you can get back on.
And now deep in traffic. Robbie Gordon is the leader. McMurray slipped to 4th. There's Stewart in that pack right there. Kyle behind him.
Wow, they're 3 wide back there where Kyle's at.
Junior on the move.
See Kyle there to the right of your screen. They're still 3 wide going through the corner. Somebody's going to have to give here a little bit, unless you go to the dirt.
And over the curve. Harvick's back there. There's Matt Kenseth in the 17 and Kyle Busch. It's Terry Labonte in the 55 you saw a moment ago, driving for Michael Waltrip this weekend here in Sonoma. Robbie Gordon in the 7, trying to lead the first lap. McMurray trying to make up ground, moves into the 3rd. Earnhardt Earnhardt Jr. in that 8 car runs second.
Yeah, it's Morissette there on the outside.
It's on board with Robbie.
Oh, we were just watching this earlier. There's Kyle's back there.
Kenseth.
91 car.
The Goosens.
Oh, there's a lot of damage on the left rear of Kyle's car as well. There's that left rear fender is tore up pretty big.
Gordon continues to lead. Earnhardt Jr., who has not had a lot of success here, runs second. Go back and see if we can take a look.
Oh, wow. Kenseth just dove on the inside of Kyle, and I don't think Kyle had any idea he was there.
On board with Kyle Petty.
I mean, Kyle had no clue that Kenseth was down on the inside.
What was that?
Caution is out. We apologize for that language. 91 car has come to a stop in turn 11. Robbie Gordon, the race leader, under our first caution of the race. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. TNT Sports in Sonoma, California. Toyota SaveMart 350 for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series under our first caution of the day. After a multi-car crash down in turn 11. And then Mark Goosens could not get his car refired. This was the start of the race, and the first 2 guys did okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Stewart. If we talked about that brake issue, if he didn't have enough heat in the brakes and the tire and slide off. You know, there are some marbles out there, but yeah, I think Tony's got probably one of the best cars in the field, you know, based on what I saw in practice. But he's sitting back in 13th spot right now, so I don't think it's going to be too big of a concern. Here's the deal where you know, there was a bunch of cars going down into turn 11, and I think Matt Kenseth saw it opening and went down there, but Kyle had no clue he was down there. And that caused this wreck. Damage to the 17, as well as you can see the left rear of Kyle Petty.
Matt Kenseth has been on and off of pit road. Same for Kyle Petty.
See if we can get in there with Kyle and see what his version is. Hey, Kyle, this is Wally up in the booth. That's about where the radio is in that door, so we may have killed the radio.
Jeff Gordon on and off of pit road. Lindsay?
Bill, Jeff Gordon came in. It was quick, gas only. He said his car's pretty loose. Steve Letarte got on the radio and said, I told you this would be fun. Gordon said, yeah, you're right. Ralph?
Well, Lindsay, I spoke to Chad Knaus just before this race got underway, and he said, like a good football coach, he's got a couple of trick plays up his sleeve, and a lot of those were going to involve how the race unfolded with pit strategy. He just brought the 48 of Jimmy Johnson in, topped him off with fuel. And the key to this race, gentlemen, is, as we've heard all day long, track position. Looks like that's the card he's going to play here today.
Let's check in with Larry.
Well, what I'm seeing there is I saw 3 of the Hendrick cars pit, and I think with pitting here on lap 3, Chad Knaus talked about it in the countdown to the green. This gets them to where they can make this race on 2 stops. What they need is a caution to come out here shortly, hoping a lot of other teams will make their pit stop then they'll get that track position.
But Larry, do you think a lot of guys will make their stop if you get another caution in the next few laps?
I think if it comes before lap 10 or lap 12, but if you don't stop by then, you're like when Caesar crossed the Rubicon. There's no turning back.
Wow. Good one, Larry. Marty, you got Matt Kenseth today?
Yeah, I do, Bill, and unfortunately, we talked about how important this race was for the 4th place man and championship. Matt Kenseth sitting here with obvious left front fender damage and behind the tire as well. The toe is knocked so far out, Wally, that the wheel for Matt is halfway turned around for him to go straight. In other words, that piece of tape that says where the top of the where it should be at the top, in other words, the car should be going straight, it's actually turned way to the left in order for him to go straight. So there's a lot of damage on this car, and they finished 42nd last week. Cannot afford another bad finish this weekend. Ralph?
Marty, you saw Tony Stewart go a little too hot into turn number 2, and it cost him a lot of positions as he went sliding off the track. He jumped on the radio, and this is what he said to the crew.
Take your time now, be patient. Yeah, I forgot that evidently. Sorry, ain't no big deal. We still got a long way to go. Sorry about that, Pod. Sorry, guys. I thought I got an awful good run in there. A little upset because you didn't abide by the sticker on the dash. Yeah, neither one of them, actually. Both of them I made a foul on.
Those two stickers, by the way, the top one says patience. The second one, Bill, says help promote a dust-free environment.
And Tony's 0 for 2 right now.
Now, when the green flag flies, the drivers don't know how to read anymore. So I don't know why those notes are up there, but he'll pick his way back up to the front.
And it'll be fun to watch. Robbie leads him back to the green, now up the hill. And this really strings out the field on a road course. On board with Robbie, looking back at Junior, down the hill to turn 4. An update on the race leader from Matt.
Bill, it was not an incident-free final practice for Robbie Gordon. He had a tie rod and failed, so he lost some time there. Some concern early on as the car just didn't feel right. But his complaint, like so many others, it was just so free. A lot of crew chiefs pointing to the fact that there was a West race here, Grand National West race on Saturday, running a bias-ply, different type Goodyear tire. So it's a little bit different rubber on the racetrack.
And that can be a very sensitive issue for these cars. This track notoriously doesn't have a lot of grip. And then with this new car, it's even more of a factor.
Yeah, and when you run that a different tire, ooh, there, Burton trying to get underneath Boris said, shut the door, and you'll see that a lot down in that corner. When you're taking a car down there and you're driving and you look up in that mirror, if you think the guy behind you is going to pull out, you may just make a block a little bit. So you'll see a lot of mirror driving at turn 11.
Robbie leads, then it's Junior on his bumper. Jamie McMurray runs 3rd. Boris in 4th. Jeff Burton in the 5th spot. Tony Stewart has made his way up to 12th after starting 5th and then losing several positions on the opening lap. AC Kane right behind Burton.
And this is almost, this whole section of the racetrack is where you're really trying to set the guy up. It's a rhythm part of the racetrack, but you're really trying to get as close as you can to the car in front of you through turn 10 to set you up for one of the few braking zones on this racetrack. You know, here they come to 10. You want to get right up on the guy's bumper. Now you're in position to try to outbrake a guy going down into turn 11. So you want to be really close. Like Earnhardt took a look, but he figured, you know what, I'm not there. Maybe I'll try it on the outside. Really tough to make a pass on the outside in turn 11.
And McMurray tries to close ground behind them.
But Junior's doing exactly what he's got to do. He's got to keep the pressure on Robbie. He's got to worry Robbie to death right now. Every time Robbie looks up in the mirror, he's like, man, I am not getting away from this Budweiser car. So that's when you try to start forcing the guy into a mistake. And in the meantime, Earnhardt Jr.'s looking at his mirror going, you know what, McMurray's coming, so I better get by Robbie.
And we know that Boris is right behind him, so a lot of talent throughout this field. Boris said, a very accomplished road racer. There's McMurray in the 26th in the 3rd spot.
And Robbie looks like he's really good through this section of the track, where the last couple laps, Earnhardt Jr. looks like he closes in from here to turn 11. If you're going to be good, you want to be good from here to turn 11, because turn 11 is the spot where you're going to make the pass.
What we saw Kenseth try to do to Kyle Petty, you're going to see a lot more of that the deeper we get into the race, because guys are going to take it in there as hard as they can to get that spot.
Because it's the one of the very few places you can make a pass here. So yes, you're exactly right. I think there's going to be a lot of contact down in that corner before this race is over.
Junior tried to set him up here last time by. See what happens on this lap. Looks to the outside again. That's the hard way around. McMurray looked like he was thinking about going inside of Junior there.
And Robbie's not going to give the inside up. So trust me, he's looking in that mirror a lot. He wants to make sure that Earnhardt Jr. is not going to make a run.
Junior continues to work over Robbie, trying to get the lead. Man.
I mean, and like I said, Junior is worrying him right now. I mean, he is just trying to force Robbie into one little mistake, that one little opening that Dale could take advantage of.
We watch the leaders and listen to Kyle explain what happened on that opening lap.
All right, in the booth, that was a little bit of excitement for the first lap, was it not? A little bit more excitement than I wanted in the corner that I was not anticipating. 10-4, man, 10-4.
That was Kyle under caution. He said he wanted to get through the first turn in the first lap. A lot of traffic right down here in 11. There's that number 20 Chevrolet. Picking up spots.
Yep, see Fellows there, a 96 car as well.
Again, Tony Stewart started 5th.
And see, I think that was a case where Sadler looked up in the mirror, saw Tony was coming, Tony was faster. Didn't even really push the issue on trying to make a block.
Stewart up to the 9th spot. Robbie Gordon continues to lead. Earnhardt Jr. chasing. Jamie McMurray runs 3rd. Early laps at Infinion Raceway in Sonoma. Race strategy starting to play out early here in Sonoma. Here's our AT&T Race Talk question. Which driver do you think will perform best this weekend? None of these gentlemen running the whole series. Terry Labonte in for Michael Waltrip this week. Text the word race to 191 on your AT&T wireless phone, and we'll have the results for you later in the race. Let's see. Tony Stewart is now running in the 39th position, and that's because he pitted. Came to pit road on lap 9. Robbie Gordon continues to lead. Earnhardt Jr. 2nd. McMurray still 3rd. Larry, how's your voice and your calculator?
Well, I don't know about my voice, but I saw J.J. Yaley, Tony Stewart's teammate, hit pit road on lap 8. And just Tony Stewart on lap 9 hit pit road. What that tells me now, Greg, is really try to make 3 runs in about 33 to 34 laps to get to the end of this.
See how it all plays out for him. Ralph, you got Tony today, right?
That I do, Bill, and that is all about strategy, bringing that 20 Home Depot car down pit road right now. I talked with their crew. They are convinced from this point on they can make it to the end of the race with just 2 more stops. That'll be a big key.
So Stewart deep in the field now, basically all by himself on the track.
Which is not a bad thing. I mean, if they're on strategy, you know, he's going to run some really good laps here. Got the track to himself. It's a great in-car camera shot. Pointed towards the driver. You can see how much a driver works around this place. You know, you don't shift here as much as you used to. I think when qualifying, we're talking about, you know, some of the guys, a lot of them don't even get into 4th gear on this racetrack anymore.
Juan Pablo Montoya on the move.
Montoya's up to 20th starting position, or he started in, I believe, 32nd. Yep, so he's making some ground, and here's a guy that's going to make a lot of passes down there in turn 11.
Marty?
32nd to 20th, as you guys mentioned, for JPM so far. He is one of those guys, Wally, as you say, not using 4th gear either. He's using 3rd gear in the fast parts of the racetrack. What that does give them the advantage of what he used just a moment ago, as you saw off of that last turn, he's in 1st gear. Some guys are in 2nd. He gets that pull. I asked him about his qualifying lap where he qualified 32nd. He said, you know what? I simply choked. You know, Chip Ganassi was here. The media was asking me about it. I just didn't have the lap I could have had in qualifying, but during practice and so far in the race, very happy with his 42 car. He's going to go to the front. Can he get to all the leaders, though?
Thanks, Marty. On the Move is brought to you by Principal Financial Group. Will give you an edge. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon moving forward after starting deep in the field. They've also been on pit road.
And you know, Marty, his car looks very good, and where you can see Montoya making up a lot of ground on these guys is under braking. Now, you just saw him smoke his brake. That you're going to see a lot from the drivers in the cars that really get aggressive with the brakes. But that's how you really make up time driving on a road course. If you want to be really fast on a road course, you've got to drive these cars in deep. As we look at the 14 car, Sonoman Marlin obviously has a problem.
Load up, I think, Slugger.
And I don't believe he's going to make it all the way back to the pits unless he gets down on that service road.
Yeah, he can get off the course here if he continues to go straight. Right there. Jeff Gordon back on pit road.
Now, Mike, he was in once,
yeah,
right?
Lindsay, this is their strategy coming to them, isn't it?
The guys, 4 tires.
Oh, yeah, I would say you guys are exactly right. 4 tires is exactly what they'll take here, and they hope that Jeff can just continue to keep gaining ground. As I was talking to Jeff when he was walking out, he was saying the key here is just to remain patient, sit back, don't try to be a superstar right away, and this strategy is exactly what they're thinking of.
Well, I believe we're going to get a yellow thrown here because Sterling Marlin did not make it to pit lane.
Could you give me lottery numbers too when you get a chance? Sterling Marlin was on an access road, then tried to get back to pit road, then stalled on the track. Gordon's on pit road. Wild things happening at the SaveMart 350. Under caution in Sonoma. 14 laps complete. Robbie Gordon is the race leader. And waiting to see if anybody's going to take the opportunity to come down pit road. Mark Goossens in the 91 is the lucky dog. We saw Gordon was on pit road. Then the caution came out for Sterling Marlin, who believes he lost an engine. There's the entrance to pit road on the right-hand side of your screen. Robbie not coming. So these guys now, is that Fellows? Looks like Ron Fellows might be headed for his pit stall. Tony Stewart runs in the 37th position.
Hey, Bill,
yes,
Wally, here's what's interesting. You're seeing Ron Fellows pit. Remember, that is a Gibbs engine, so it looks like the Gibbs car, they come here knowing that they could not do this race on 2 stops. We're seeing a lot of guys at the back of the field pit. I think the reason the 24 car pitted right there is they knew they could not make it from pitting back on lap 3. The spotter saw the 14 car stalled on the racetrack. They hit pit road and actually got a free pit stop, but it's not going to pay off a lot. They're not going to gain that much position. Matt.
And Larry Mack hit it right on the head as far as the strategy for the 96, one of those Gibbs engines race cars. Now, he said the car was loose. Now, remember, this is a road course specialist, Ron Fellows. He's won in Busch. He's won in Craftsman trucks. Trying to become the 18th different guy, Ralph, to score the triple.
Matt, the plan with the 20 of Tony Stewart was if the field stayed out, you come in. If they come in, you stay out. They stayed out, he came in. They're working this strategy hard, fellas.
And that's the way it usually works here, as you know, Ralph. It's a strategy race till you get to about 40 to go. Gotta be in position with 40 to go. You don't race hard all day. You got to do that, but you have to put yourself in a position on these wacky road course races to be there at the end. 15 of the 18 races here have been won from starting positions inside the top 10, our Toyota track back. 11 times the winner has come from the first 4 spots. So Robbie Gordon continues to lead. Then it's Earnhardt Jr. in second, McMurray third, Borisset, and Jeff Burton. Told that a tire got away from the crew of the 6th car of David Reagan. He will have to restart at the tail end of the field.
Hey, Bill and Wally, I've just got to believe these guys that stayed out right there, they plan on making this race in 2 stops. But as I walked through the garage area this morning, what a lot of them were banking on is caution laps to help them do that, because we know you use a lot less fuel under caution than you do under green. Right now, caution laps could be some of these guys that have not made a stop yet, their best friend.
Helps with the fuel mileage. Helps you get to that. And Larry, with this smaller fuel cell, these guys, some of that is guesswork, even if you did get a fuel mileage reading in practice.
Well, it is, Bill, but here's what I think, and Wally talked about it this morning as we were walking through the garage area. You have a choice of carburetors that you can run, a 750 CFM or an 830. An 830 makes more power, but if you have to make an extra pit stop, sometimes that power will not help you. So a lot of them opted to go with a little smaller carburetor that gets better fuel mileage.
See how it all works out this afternoon. Coming around to complete lap 16. 12 cars stopped under that caution. Gordon stopped just before the caution came out. Jeff Gordon is currently scored in the 32nd position. Tony Stewart in the 35th position. Robbie Gordon, the race leader. We go back to green at Sonoma. Up the hill to turn 2, the right-hander. Truex Jr. in the 1 car back there.
See Montoya on the outside of the 5 car makes the pass. Here's Montoya, the 42, getting around Kyle Busch. Jimmy Johnson taking a look. That's a place you can outbrake somebody, but you've got to be very careful because you carry so much speed in there. Well, you can. You carry so much speed in there, you can get chopped off really easy. And you see Montoya trying to get by Truex in the 1 car.
Smoked his tires a little bit.
Yeah, and he's doing that a lot, but he's making up some ground.
And once he feels that he's got the car and gets a little bit of confidence, he's going to drive a little harder and a little faster and challenge these guys a little bit more, because this is his kind of racing.
Exactly. Yep. Marty, what is Montoya saying anything about his car? Because it looks awfully good.
He says, Wally, it shatters the front just a little bit, especially at the top of the hill. But one thing he told me about braking this morning, he said, actually, when you outbrake someone, as Kyle Busch spins around, Bill.
Kyle Busch was actually trying to outbrake Montoya just when you were talking about that, Marty, and it looked to me like he had a little bit too much rear brake in there because the rear tire's locked up and he's spinning around. And now he's watching all these cars go by him.
Wow, he was up around 15th.
And, you know, and Montoya driving it in pretty deep, and Kyle Busch locked up the right front there, but still, Montoya drives it in deep. If you're going to outbrake Montoya, you're doing something. So
he thought it looked like a good idea to go to the inside.
And actually, I think Kyle, I really believe he spun that car out to avoid hitting Montoya, now that I look at it from that replay.
So see if that changes his strategy here this afternoon. 18 laps in the book. Marty, did you finish your stuff on Montoya there?
Well, Bill, I was just going to say that this morning when Wally and I were talking about outbraking someone, and Wally, you can talk about this, he said when you're doing that, you actually start braking at the same point your guy trying to outbrake you do. So what you do is you don't hit the brake as hard as that other guy does. You just get on it a little slower and then stab it right at the end instead of getting all on at once. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. What you do is when you outbrake a guy like he just did, your points are pretty much the same as Jimmy Johnson sneaks underneath. Very nice move. Very nice move, Mr. Johnson. But what you do is when you get on the brake, Marty, you get off the brake and let that car roll just that 10 or 15 feet. So while the guy you're trying to outbrake is hard on the brakes, you get off the brake, let your car roll a little bit further, then you get on the brakes again really hard. By that time, you've got the position on the guy. So that's exactly right.
There's some good racing going on back in the pack, including the move made by Jimmy Johnson, Ralph.
Jimmy Johnson's car hasn't been perfect since the beginning of this race, Bill, but they felt like it was going to continue to come to him, and that's what they kept telling Jimmy. Apparently it's getting there. It is really starting to work in the 48.
With everything that this team has been through this weekend, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon were not allowed to practice or qualify on Friday when their cars did not make it through inspection. Chad Canals, you can tell he's disappointed about what happened, but he just had that sound of confidence in his voice in the garage this morning that we've got good equipment and we've got a plan and this might work out.
Well, they have been beating up everybody this year, so I mean that's where the confidence comes from. But you're right, and then they had 2 teammates out there that they could draw off of on those couple practices, so it's not like they were completely lost. And those guys came here with good race cars, and that's how you win championships, in my opinion, is you leave the shop with your stuff really good. And they do that every week.
Jamie McMurray, the new second-place car. Behind Robbie Gordon, got a round Earnhardt Jr. to take second. Junior in third.
Jeff Burton putting a lot of pressure on Boris Said there.
There's a bit of a traffic jam behind Boris.
A lot of these cars right here are so close right now. They're so even. Here comes Jeff Gordon.
And Tony Stewart.
This is a pretty good race here. Okay, now Stewart has the best spot, and I think Gordon understood that. You're going into a left-hander, so you want to be on the left side. So Jeff Gordon said, yep. And no sense of beating each other through the corner there.
And those two guys are not going to race each other very hard at this point in the race. They're behind Ron Fellows, not a bad guy to be following on a road course. Fellows in that 96 car. But Tony may not want to be following for very long. And again, that 96 team gets a lot of support from Joe Gibbs Racing. I believe Joe Gibbs Racing even built that car for him. So Robbie continues to lead. Jamie McMurray second. Earnhardt Jr. third. On board the 01 car. Watch out for the dust and the rocks. And there goes the camera. Robbie Gordon is the race leader and has led every lap so far with 22 in the book this afternoon at Infinion Raceway in Sonoma. Here's our AT&T Race Talk question. The results so far.
The set heads have spoken.
Yes, they have, and they are a loyal group, huh? And Boris currently running fourth. You can text RACE to 191. Cast your vote for AT&T Race Talk question. There's Boris. Man, that wall scares me. It's Jeff Burton right behind him, and that's they've been nose to tail for a while.
Jeff Burton has been really working on Boris, and here's a great shot. Yeah, this is foot cam on Boris's car. And Boris is one of the few guys out there that right foot brakes. Most of the drivers use their left foot. You just keep your left foot over that brake pedal. This way, when you're braking and downshifting, you never take your foot off the gas, never take your foot off the brake pedal. As you can see what he's doing, he uses the gas, and then when he goes to slow the car down, he hits the brake, then he rolls his foot on the gas pedal to downshift. That's called heel and toe.
And you don't have to use the clutch in these cars.
You don't have to use the clutch in these cars. Now, Boris has got about an 18-size shoe, so he can do that a lot easier than most people. But like I said, most of us just left foot brake.
And you told me yesterday you left foot brake in your passenger car.
Yes. Yeah, I left foot brake and everything. Going down the highway, I left foot brake. Probably, to me, it's just quicker. You can react quicker and get on the brake a lot faster. But it's just what you're brought up to. And here Jeff Burton is just working on Boris right now, and he's going to take a look. He's going to do it right here.
Been patient as long as he could. Burton gets the position. We get a report from Matt.
And a great shot of Boris Said's trade secrets there. Now, Boris's biggest issue, the car is too free on the right-handers, but Frankie Steiner telling him, look, don't worry about the top 3 or 4. Just pace yourself and try to save as much fuel as possible.
And here's the thing. Because Boris was basically holding up that pack, they started to lose touch with the top 3 cars, especially race leader Robbie Gordon.
Yeah, as you can already see, Jeff Burton is going to start driving away from Boris, and then you got Ryan Newman right behind Boris. So it'll be interesting to see if there's, you got Ryan Newman, Casey Kane, you've got Kurt Busch back there. There's a bunch of those guys. See if they can make the pass now on Boris.
So the fuel mileage factor is going to come into play here very shortly, maybe as soon as 7 laps or so. A number of teams have already been on pit road, but not the race leaders. We'll step out, come back for those stops. You're watching NASCAR live on TNT.
At work, he's a therapist with all the answers. Ow! But at home, this father doesn't always know best.
What's in your drawer, Trent?
Tell me it's not drugs. It's a Playboy. Oh, good boy.
The all-new TBS comedy series, The Billing Ball Show, premieres July 17th, only on TBS.
TNT Sports is live at the Toyota SaveMart 350 in Sonoma, California, under caution. Caution for debris.
And there it is. It looks like a brake hose. When that, you know, hitting that curve back there, eventually I figured something was going to fall off one of these cars. That could have been Clint Ware. Whoever fell off of it's not good.
No.
Because now there are one less brake hose, and you really need to cool these brakes around this place.
So with 26 laps complete, Robbie Gordon is the race leader. Then it's Jamie McMurray, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Burton, and Boris Said.
I can hear that calculator going right now.
I can too.
What do you think, Larry? Everybody comes now, right?
You know, right now, they could definitely, I think, these guys that have stayed out, they can make it easily on 2 stops from here. But everybody, I think, is pretty much in a 2-stop window here.
Several teams have already been to pit road. See how this all plays out. Leaders stay out because pit road is still closed. Toyota SaveMart 350 from Infinion Raceway in Sonoma is brought to you by Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. By Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar, eating good in the neighborhood. Applebee's. By UPS, proud sponsor of Dale Jarrett's 44 Toyota. Go, Dale, go. And by the auto parts experts at AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Still under caution here in Sonoma.
Are the pits still closed? Nope.
Nope, they're open. And the leader's not coming.
Wow.
But a handful of guys are. Carl Edwards is on pit road. There you see Robbie Gordon. Let's check in with Lindsay.
Carl Edwards has made the decision to come in. Carl, who's only been here twice before. He finished 6th last year. He pulled his car in. These guys are definitely taking advantage of this strategy that they can use to get Carl taken care of, because most of the guys down on this end have chosen to stay out.
Thanks, Lindsay. And I bet after the green comes out, we'll see a few more guys dive on the pit road. Kyle Petty stays out.
Hey, Kyle, this is Wally in the booth. Hear me?
Yeah, man, I hear you loud and clear.
Well, not too good of a start. A little rough there. But did it damage your car? I mean, did it really affect the way the car? I know there's a lot of body damage, but everything's still straight?
Yeah, everything's straight. The front end's straight. Rear end's still up under it. And I apologize to Matt or whoever that was. I guess I just didn't know that somebody was going to come in there that quick. And I didn't see him. I was looking in the mirror for the 91. So if that's my fault, y'all got the TV, and I take the blame. I apologize. But I tell you what, man, it's been a lot of fun out here so far. These guys are giving and taking really good. You notice the guys behind us put on new tires like the 20 and the 24 and the 96, and those guys, and when they catch us, sorry, they were communicating with me on the radio. When they catch us, we get out of the way. So it's been a good day so far, man.
All right, man, we know you're busy. We'll check in later.
I got you.
I bet they were talking to him about the 24 behind him. We'll find out. Larry?
All right, Bill, Wally, I've got it figured out. What these guys are doing up front, they're pretty much treating this race just as they have done in the past, even when they had 3 more gallons of fuel. Right now, what you're going to probably see all those guys do is about lap 36 or 37, whether it's caution or green, they're going to come on the pit road, and they're making this a 2-stop race, just as we've done before, probably with the help of a little smaller carburetor.
All right, Marty?
Well, guys, just like Larry Mack said, that's what's happening down here. Most of the teams were about 2 laps short if it went green flag for making it a 2-stop race if they pitted now. So they're going to stay out for 4 or 5 laps, as Larry Mack said, because they would have had to have hoped for 4 or 5 laps of caution. Can't count on that, so they'll come in under green, as you said, Weber. Matt?
And Robbie Gordon had about a second-half lead under this caution. A lot of conversation with his crew chief, Gene Need, and it's all about fuel.
You can almost count this whole lap, all right? Well, let's count 1/10 of this lap on the throttle. 1/10 of this lap I was on the throttle. That's the time I have been idling.
trying to give Gene as much information as possible. Now, originally they were going to go to lap 5 and then pit, but they called an audible. Now, this caution extends their window even more. They can probably go to around lap 35. The 31 of Burton, they may come 2 laps earlier on 33. Bill?
Thanks, Matt. I think some of these guys are going to end up being right on the edge. And we've seen guys run out here, too, in the closing laps.
Yeah, and this isn't a place you coast back to.
No. Not as we saw from Sterling, who, by the way, we've been told is out of the race. Sterling Marlin, engine failure. Green in the air, Robbie in the lead. Jamie right on his bumper. McMurray started on the pole, up the hill.
Looks like Jeff Burton's got a really good car right now.
And they had some issues with that car in practice as well. And when they were talking to Kyle, he was looking in his... Man, that's a great shot.
You like that spot, don't you?
I don't like that wall, but I like that shot. Boris said...
Oh, boy, Burton hates to give that up. He knows how hard it is to pass Boris.
It took him like 20 minutes or 20 laps to get around him. How about Burton, Matt?
Boy, they really hit the jackpot in final practice. They found something amiss, broken in the front suspension area, not to get too technical, but they luckily found it by chance. Otherwise, they would have had a long day today. Now, Burton's biggest issue right now, Bill, forward bite, as he's got the 12 diving on the inside. That's one area they want to work on when they make their next stop here.
2 Penske cars trying to get around him.
Hey, just hook that left rear in the gravel, just that little bit on the exit there, turn 10. Just enough for those 2 cars to make some ground and pass them.
Jeff Gordon has gotten around Kyle Petty. And the 55 of Terry Labonte also got around.
Oh, Montoya underneath the 48, just barely made contact. Now we'll see if Jimmy Johnson fights the issue here. He's in position, and he does fight the issue.
Imagine that.
He did not like that. That's why I said earlier, these guys aren't going to be putting up with Montoya pushing them around. Not going to happen here today.
On board with Montoya. Tony Stewart in the middle of all that traffic in the 20 car. Ron Fellows in the 96 behind him. Bill Elliott in that 21.
Oh, that's really, really tight through there run side by side as Bill Elliott cracked the throttle enough just for Stewart to get in front of him. See Jeff Gordon right there in the picture as well, right behind Truex in that 1 car.
Up front, Boris said on the move. Takes 3rd from Earnhardt. There's Montoya with Jimmy Johnson behind him now. There's Denny Hamlin in the 11 car. Ralph?
Bill, in these race cars, just like in your street car on the shifter, there's a knob for the driver to grab onto with his hand to help make shifting easy. Well, that broke off in Denny Hamlin's number 11. So he's really struggling to shift the car right now. The crew is going to put a bunch of pieces into an empty water bottle like this, including vice grips. They're going to pass that through the driver's side window. And then later on during a caution, he's going to get the parts out of the water bottle and try to rebuild that stick shift with one hand under caution while driving around a road course.
Sure he is. Yeah, sure he is, Ralph.
Do we have any car camera on that one?
Man, oh man. Craig Biffle in the 16. Stewart right behind his teammate. It's our Miller Lite race fact. Denny has led the most laps in the Car of Tomorrow races. Our Miller Lite race fact. You're craning your head so you can see that 42-28 thing.
Yeah, I really am. I really think something's going to happen there. Because Montoya got back in front of Jimmy Johnson, and then Jimmy Johnson got back in front of Montoya, so...
Biffle in the 16, Stewart there. This is on board with Montoya.
I think he takes a look under here. He just gets into Jimmy Johnson. Johnson's like,
come on. Chopped in, still down there. Still there.
And I mean, Jimmy Johnson turned to the right to send Montoya a message.
That'll be fun to watch. Marty, keeping an eye on this?
I am, and I'm listening to Juan Montoya's radio as well, and he hasn't had much to say about it. His only thing in his thick Colombian accent is, I'm better than him, and that was it. And he is chattering the front of that car a whole lot. They want to make adjustments to it on this first stop. He wasn't very upset about it, but like you were talking, Wally, he knows he has a certain level of aggressiveness he can take with these Cup drivers. Can't do what he did in the Busch race.
Earnhardt Jr. on pit road. Now, these are plans that are starting to come into play, plans that were formulated before the race began. Coming to you, Ralph.
Well, they were planning on pitting around lap 32, so Junior making his way down the pit lane. This is all a part of the strategy. They hung out there as long as they could. He's been very quiet on the radio. About the only problem he has really had with the car today was at one point he scraped the splitter on the front of the car. Here he coming in now, getting 4 tires of fuel. Should be a pretty basic stop. No major changes called for in the car. He's been pretty happy with it so far. Fueling just about done. The tires are completed, and away he goes at 13.8.
So Earnhardt Jr., the first of the race leaders to step onto pit road. And he heads back onto the track. And obviously you can pit here without losing a lap under green. Race leader Robbie Gordon is just now heading for turn 11. There's Robbie. With McMurray behind him. And then Boris Said on the move. I knew this part was coming.
Yep. Hey, Wally, what I did notice, Dale Earnhardt Jr. almost stalled his car lead. They have such a high first gear in the car because of using first gear in turn 1 and turn 7. You almost can't get going leaving the pit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Actually, when they dropped the jack and he took off, he almost stalled the car because exactly what Larry was talking about.
Marty. Pitting on the same lap as his teammate, Kevin Harvick comes to pit road. They're going to put a round of wedge or a quarter round of wedge in the left rear. Also take some air pressure out of the front tires. Wants a little more rear grip. Todd Perrier said, take all the time you need. We need it full of fuel, Matt.
The lack of rear grip, Jeff Burton says, was absolutely killing him earlier in this run, but right before he pitted, he said it's actually gotten a lot better. It's just coming to him too late. Burton, one of those guys in that lead pack, waiting to the latter end of the first pit cycle to make their stop.
He's on his way with Harvick right alongside as they come off of pit road and get back up to speed. Martin Truex Jr. in the 1. Terry Labonte in that 55. Waiting to see what race leader Robbie Gordon might do. He's gonna pit. Robbie Gordon has led all 34 laps until now. Started outside the front row next to pole sitter Jamie McMurray. It's a long, slow trip down pit road here at Sonoma. Matt, he's coming around the bend to you.
He's on his way down to that latter section here on pit road. Robbie Gordon swept both road course races back in 2003. He came on the radio about 15 laps ago and said, guys, I've got about another half second tucked away in the bag. Right now, I am just riding. He wanted a little bit of help on forward bite, but he didn't want to hurt his car in the beginning stages of the run, so he actually waved off the air pressure change that Gene Need was going to make. A little slow on the left side of the race car. Lugs on finally. He is down and away for the guy who has led every lap up to this point.
And that stopped a little longer than they would have liked. So he heads back out on the track. Jamie McMurray has inherited the lead. McMurray, Boris Said, Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, Elliott Sadler. Those guys are heading toward turn 11 and could dive onto pit road this time. And here comes McMurray and Boris. And they've got company behind them.
Don't cheat it. 31 first gear around the dog leg.
Does not want to get hit with a speeding penalty. Marty on McMurray.
And McMurray, the leader, as he hits pit road, as you mentioned, Bill, late in the fuel window, so they're very good on fuel mileage. That may help them later in the race. Jamie says it chatters the front end just a little bit, but he doesn't want to make any chassis changes. Going up through turn 1 earlier, he said he hit a pothole, and his steering wheel is knocked out just a little bit. They get it full of fuel, and Jamie kills the car for a second, then finally gets it going. Matt?
And Frankie Stoddard had his driver, Boris, said on pit road, chassis adjustment, need a little more help on the right-handers. He said he was especially hurt with his car down in turn 11, but he was running the same lap times as Robbie Gordon right before this stop, Ralph.
Well, the two of Kurt Busch has been having trouble in the high-speed corners like turn number 10, and he's been losing grip on the exit of Wrights. They brought him in, put 4 tires in fuel, made a chassis adjustment and some air pressure adjustments. He's back underway, Bill.
And the race leader is Jimmy Johnson. Let's watch Kurt Busch get back up to speed. That's Harvick behind him, and then Matt Kenseth, who just came off of pit road. Looking ahead at Earnhardt Jr. This would be for the lead. Whoa. Jimmy Johnson had it. Denny Hamlin just took it. Johnson started 42nd today. Right now, strategy is coming to him. Hamlin is the race leader, then Johnson, then Tony Stewart runs 3rd. Fellows 4th, and Jeff Gordon 5th. Well, you have to pay a lot of attention in these road course races because so many different strategies play out. An update on Gordon from Lindsay.
Bill, Jeff Gordon says he'll pit in 4 laps, but he's not really happy about the guy that he's driving behind because he was asking before who was driving the 96 car. When they told him it was Fellows, Jeff said, tell Ron Fellows that someone needs to let him know who's driving the number 24.
Wow, that's pretty strong.
Yes, message delivered. It's the proud new father who's driving that 24 car. And I just saw Jeff very briefly in the garage yesterday, and just to congratulate him, and he just has this, after everything they went through on Friday, still had this huge smile on his face after the birth of their daughter earlier this week. Johnson on pit road. So Jimmy Johnson slows down, making certain he doesn't get hit with the speeding penalty, and heads for his pit stall. Coming to you, Ralph.
I'm here. 48 comes sliding into his pit stall. Now remember, these guys are working a different pit strategy. It's going to be a chassis adjustment. Some damage to the left rear. They make the chassis adjustment. They go for the tires and the fuel. And Jimmy Johnson will be back underway. Johnson good.
You could see his front right tire, the Goodyear, had been rubbed off, and I imagine that's from when he was dancing with Montoya.
Yeah.
Yes. So Jimmy Johnson heads back out. 38 laps complete. Denny Hamlin scored as the race leader. He pitted on lap 3. So he's not far away from having to make his stop. Hamlin came from deep in the field. There's Tony behind him. Then Ron Fellows. Then Jeff Gordon. And Carl Edwards scored in the 5th position. Well, it's one of those road course races where the strategy really has to play out throughout the day to get you to victory lane. This long series of pit stops under green continues now here in Sonoma. Tony Stewart headed for his pit stall. He's yours, Ralph.
Here he comes, Tony Stewart, down pit road in the number 20. You can see they're going to make a chassis adjustment on the right rear. Everything's been pretty good with Tony Stewart. Surprisingly, even though things got off to a bad start on the opening lap and it went sliding off the corner, they've been very calm, very cool, very collected. They know they've got a fast race car and plenty of time, Bill.
Thanks, Ralph. So Stewart on pit road. Denny Hamlin also pitted while we were away. So Ron Fellows in that 96 96 car, the car that finished third last year in this race, is now the race leader. Jeff Gordon has scored second, Carl Edwards third. We talked about the 11 car coming to pit road while we were gone. And remember, he's got that shifter issue. Whoa, might have more issues. There's the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Jimmy Johnson right behind him. Ralph Shaheen has our Subway Pit News report presented by Subway Restaurants. Ralph?
Bill, the reason why Denny Hamlin's sliding all over the track like that might be because there's a whole bunch of pieces and parts rolling around in the cockpit of the car. Watch what they did during this last pit stop. You'll see the crew member with a long pole reach through the window. There goes the water bottle, and inside that water bottle are vice grips, some other wrenches, and the crawl to the top of a stick shift that somewhere during a caution he's going to try to build himself. Lindsay?
Well, Jeff Gordon this weekend going for his 80th career win. They just brought him in, gave him 4 tires, gas, pulled out the fender a little bit. Jeff right now says he's riding steady.
Slow trip off of pit road. So Gordon heads back out onto the track. Fellows the race leader. A lot of fuel strategy, a lot of pit strategy playing out here in Sonoma on just a fantastic afternoon in front of a great crowd. There's Fellows. Was at Le Mans last week, right?
Yep, he sure was.
Caution is out. Caution for debris. This will be caution number 4. The debris is right there on the pit straight, right across from pit road. Caution at Sonoma, where Ron Fellows leads. Still under caution for debris here at Sonoma. There is your race leader, Ron Fellows, in the 96 car, headed for his pit stall. Carl Edwards was right behind him, but decided at the last instant to stay out on the track. So Fellows on pit road. .44 laps are complete. Carl Edwards is scored as the race leader, so Fellows into his stall. Mac?
And Brandon Thompson is going to try to fix the balance of Ron Fellows' machine by making an air pressure adjustment all the way around. Needed a little more grip on both ends of the race car last time on pit road. Right around lap 15, almost stalls it. And one thing, Bill, he did come on the radio to ask about the pit road speed concerning keeping pace with the pace truck. And Wally, as someone who comes in only twice a year, that's one of those little nuances that is really a rhythm and a commonplace thing for guys that run here every week. But for Fellows, this is like something new every time he comes.
Yeah, that's an easy mistake to make when you're not doing it every single week. So he wants to make sure that if anything, he's under that pit road speed, not above it. Hey, Kyle, this is Wally in the booth. You hear me?
Yeah, man, got you loud and clear.
You making any progress?
Yeah, making good progress, man. It's been a good day. You ought to see some of the stuff out here. I'm going to tell you something. Reed Sorensen, a couple of these young guys have run some great races, man. I've been behind them today. And I got to say, a couple of these old guys have run some great races. Terry Labonte, Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott. I'm kind of stuck where these guys are at, but that's good. I'm used to racing with them.
Has anybody made you mad? Do you feel like running off the racetrack yet?
Not really. I think most everything's been my fault so far. I can't complain about the way anybody else is driving. When you hit somebody and you're out of control, really doesn't make any difference. But I tell you what, man, I wish the fans could be here in the car and I could talk them around it, because you're seeing tires, people carrying tires and all kinds of stuff out here.
All right, I know you're getting towards that other end of the racetrack, so good luck. We're watching.
All right, man, ride with me a little bit. Help me.
Larry, help him.
Well, I don't know if I can help Kyle right now, but I think I can help the fans understand what Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch are doing right now, running first and second.
I'm totally convinced here with 65 laps to go, I think to win this race, you're going to have to only make 2 pit stops, regardless of when you pit on pit road. Those cars pitted under caution at lap 28. I think they're banking on cautions, allowing them to make this on one more stop, but they will have to go about 40 to 41 laps per run, which could be a stretch without the help of cautions.
That's, and I hate to strain your voice, but that's a lot further than we originally thought when we got here, isn't it?
Absolutely, but I think what we did learn this morning, a lot of guys have these smaller carburetors, and right now, I guarantee you he's using very little to no fuel coasting around here under caution.
So these guys that stopped at like 36, they're thinking 36 and 36 is 72, and 36 more is 108, which is close enough to 110.
Yeah, I think Robbie Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., those guys, they're looking right now at going to about lap 72 and then taking it to the end.
See how it all plays out. Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch up front as we get ready to go back to green. Reed Sorensen, P.J. Jones, and David Stremme in the top 5. Boy, television just cannot give you the sense of the elevation changes and the speed here, can it?
Now, when you're coming up that hill, they actually go kind of through turn 1 blindly up that hill. And this next corner right here, when you're coming up to it, you can't see over it. So you're just guessing, you know where the track is every time. And if you're off just a little bit, you're in the dirt. As you can see in the back here, you see some of these guys already making moves. Robbie Gordon already jumping to the inside, making some passes. I saw Montoya back there making some passes. You see him up on the outside there. This is the best time to pass people, is on a restart. 42, fighting it out right there with the 2 car. Kurt Busch is going to take that spot away.
There's Junior in the 8. Montoya looking ahead at Junior.
And trust me, Montoya right now is sizing up Junior. He wants to get close to him right through this next right-hander, and then if he's close to him enough, he'll jump out and try to outbrake him. He wasn't quite close enough to do it. Going to take a look on the outside, but boy, that's difficult to do. And then he's got the 6 car in front of him,
and Tony Stewart thinking about taking that spot.
Right, so he got lucky there. He didn't get blocked.
Now back up the hill again. Robbie Gordon has worked his way back up to 6. Robbie has led 34 laps so far today. Kurt Busch in the 2, Kevin Harvick in the 29. On board with Tony, looking back at Kurt Busch. Kurt with a new crew chief this week, Pat Tryson.
Wow, like that is such a tough place to outbrake somebody. But now, see, Kenseth is in position to take the spot, and he'll do it. But these guys are really on the brakes hard here. You got to be careful. You know, it's okay if you smoke the tire a little bit, but if you keep doing it, you're going to flat spot that tire. You flat spot that tire because you're on the brake too long, and it just skids across the racetrack, and it makes it, you know, like a flat, like a box almost, and you feel it every time that tire rotates. It's really, really rough. It feels like you're going over a set of train tracks.
And Matt Kenseth has done a good job after that opening lap contact with Kyle Petty. Lindsay, what are you working on?
Bill, Jeff Gordon right now is 18th, and his crew chief, Steve Letarte, got on the radio to him and said, buddy, I really appreciate the battle that you're given. But he also used some incentive for Jeff, talking about his baby.
Battle, man. Back there is a damn battle every lap, I know. Man, I'm telling you. Problem is, you don't know which way they're going because they don't know which way they're going in some of the corners. Oh, yeah, they're blocking and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I've been waiting to use this one. This is my new one. When them boys are really irritating you and you're frustrated, you can just picture that little girl and just relax and go right by them. That's a good one to use. Thank you for reminding me.
Aw, isn't that nice?
Thanks, Lindsay.
Watch this right here. Woo! Stewart is making some ground up. He's been passing a lot of cars here the last couple laps. Battling with Earnhardt here. And then you've got Montoya in the 42 wanting to follow really badly.
Yeah, Montoya's tried both sides.
Now Montoya's in position right here. If he can stay right on the 8 car, he may take a look.
Coming to turn 11. Montoya to the inside of Earnhardt. And Kurt Busch thinking about the inside of Montoya.
Okay, now, that A-car had a little bit better bite off of there, or Montoya couldn't get as good a bite getting off that corner, so he pulled back ahead. This is good racing right here.
This is back around the 11th spot. Junior runs in 11th, Montoya 12th, then Busch, Harvick, Newman, Marty.
Yeah, Montoya up there in the mix. Hey, Wally, guess what they're telling Montoya? Be patient. How do you think that conversation's going over? I don't think he's doing too much patience out there. The car, very good. But what they are telling him, race the guys that you're racing with in terms of fuel. Some of the guys behind you and some of the guys in front of you are on different strategies than us. Worry about those guys. Don't worry about everybody else. I don't think Montoya's listening to any of it, though.
I don't think he knows what fuel mileage racing is or cares.
Really working hard to try and get past Junior. Carl Edwards, last week's winner, is this week's leader, at least for now, in the Toyota SaveMart 350.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
Welcome to Sonoma.
And it is a beautiful day here in Sonoma. Carl Edwards is the race leader. Robbie Gordon has just taken second place from Kyle Busch. And some of the wild antics of road course racing are really starting to show up here.
Yeah, watch Casey K9 car goes in way too deep, locks up the right front, locked up the right front. You can't turn it. Unfortunately, Bobby Labonte was there, got tagged, and lost about 15 spots. Nemechek goes down there. Looks like he may have got a little wheel hop. That's when you jump on the brakes, the rear wheels start chattering and locking up. He turned it sideways and lost a lot of ground.
Was able to get it restarted and continue. So Edwards is the race leader. Robbie Gordon started outside the front row, led 34 laps earlier. He runs second. There's Kyle Busch in third and Jamie McMurray, the pole sitter, in fourth. And the always dangerous Boris Said is in fifth. That's Dale Jarrett. He's gone around on the track. Jarrett was running back about the 39th spot.
Yeah, he went to outbrake the 70 car of Sauter, but that wasn't going to happen. I mean, Johnny didn't give him much room, right, but you know, still Dale was all over that curve, and when you hit a curve like that, you're going to be flying through the air sideways and then backwards.
Then the caution comes out.
Then the caution comes out.
And this is a caution a lot of these teams were counting on to try and help them with their fuel mileage and make this a two-stop race. It's going to be a wild finish. We're not even halfway. And our Die Hard fan cam presented by Live Free or Die Hard in theaters June 27th. And it is a spectacular turnout here in Sonoma this afternoon, and they have really done a job with this place. It's beautiful. It really is. I've been out here since, you know, 2000.
Yep, that's the last time I raced here.
Yeah.
2000, and they have done a great job. Made it very fan friendly.
Yes,
really.
exactly right. They have video monitors, the big screens all over the place, where these fans can not only see what's going on in front of them, but all around the road course. And it's Steve Page and those guys have done a great job out here. Just fantastic to be back out here at Sonoma. Well, we saw how the fans' view. How about the driver's view, Wally?
Hey, Kyle. It's Wally up here in the booth. Got me?
Got you, man. How come I never get to talk to Weber?
Okay, I'm putting Weber on, and it's your fault.
All right, man.
A lot of wacky strategy going on out there.
A lot of strategy, like I told you guys this morning. There's going to be some guys that get to lap 70, and that's their final pit stop. And like I told Larry and you guys, you know, I know it sounds strange, but we're cutting the cars off. There's a lot of these guys that are cutting the cars off all the way up there in turn 4, Wally, and coasting all the way down the backstretch, you guys. So there's a lot of stuff. If you go to in-car and hear the audio, there's a lot of people cutting off, saving fuel now, trying to stretch it so they can pit with 68 or so to go.
Did you see Bobby in the 43 go around?
Yeah, you know, I hope you guys caught that. You got an open mic in here, and I told him, I said, man, I hope you guys in the truck are watching this. These guys are getting ready to take each other out. And if it's not in 10, it's going to be all the way at the end of the racetrack at turn 3 or 4 up there. And sure enough, they all got together up there. It's just too many people fighting for the same real estate. You know how it is. That's not going to be the end of it. I hope we don't see many more cautions, because that's what happens when you bunch us all up out here.
All right, man. Hey, Kyle, save us some fuel, okay?
I'm saving, son. Hey, tell Mark fine. Every time I come off turn 11 down there, I'm looking at him, and he's looking cool sitting up there in the TNT tower.
And Larry's losing his voice every second.
Yeah, that may be a good thing for the fans out there, man.
Oh. There's the rig. Mark and Larry hanging out down there with a few of their friends, and the hats off to our TNT crew, both down at the rig and here in the booth and all around the track, for the great job they do this weekend and every weekend. So hats off to our people here at TNT. And to Marty Snyder.
Hats off to you too as well, Weber, and you too, Wally. I know you're going to be surprised by this, but guess what, Wally? Juan Montoya in the fast part of the racetrack says something is starting to chatter in the transmission as he goes up through into turn 1. He said he feels a rattle. Here's something as well, so something to watch for Juan Montoya as we go throughout the day. He, like many of the teams here, are not using 4th gear, but as you say, Wally, he's on that rev limiter for a long time in that 42 car.
Notice that in qualifying, and I don't even have to look out the window. I know when Montoya goes by this booth, because I can hear the rev limiter for at least 2 seconds when he goes by. So I don't know. Hey, Larry, that's not really good on the valve train, is it?
No, it's not. You know, it's okay to hit the limiter, but you don't want to just sit there and hammer, because that's what's hard on things like, you know, timing chains, timing belts, all of those things.
Well, I'll tell you what, if that thing does last, those engine guys need an award.
There's our Toyota mid-race report, and we can point out that Robbie Gordon has led 34 laps, Carl Edwards 11. They've led the most laps so far today. Robbie started outside the front row.
Don't expect it will take Robbie very long to get back to the front. You know, Robbie's got a lot of race car today. I can tell when I watch Robbie if he's getting everything out of it, and he's not. He's driving really smooth right now. He's just taking care of that race car, and that's big trouble, I think, for everyone else, Matt.
G-Need is just beating up Robbie as far as concerning saving as much fuel as possible. On the previous car, she said, look, you need an hourglass. There's so much distance between yourself and the guy behind you. You've got to save fuel. That's more important than leading laps.
Pace truck pulls off the track. Carl Edwards is the race leader. Here we go. Halfway. Junior looking to the inside.
Oh, he's got Montoya.
Yep.
Now, if Montoya can stay there, it'll be his corner.
Does not look like he has the grip.
Well, I was wrong. Junior hung right in there. Oh,
this could be big.
See Stewart making the pass there.
Watch out for that wall.
Gets by Reed Sorensen in the 41 car.
Robbie Gordon got the lead away from Carl Edwards. You were right, didn't even take half a lap.
Didn't think it was going to take long, and he's probably going to wave goodbye now.
Kyle Busch in the 5 runs 3rd. Then Jamie McMurray. Lindsay?
Bill, I wanted to talk about Carl Edwards, because something that he's doing right now is long shifting. He's doing that so that he can help save fuel, and they don't plan on having to bring him in if all stays great for about another, give or take, 12 laps.
What, he better get more than 12 out of there. There's the 6 car. David Reagan has gone around. He's got power.
Coming for a while, getting fired up here.
Trying to get back on the track. And the caution is out. So a full course yellow for the spin. So Robbie Gordon got the lead back, and the caution came out. Dale Jarrett will be the lucky dog under caution in Sonoma. You're watching the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series live on TNT. The action doesn't end when the race is over. Take advantage of TNT's Superstore discounts, special driver guitar auctions, and more only at NASCAR.com. Under caution here at Sonoma, 57 laps are complete. 110. Robbie Gordon is the race leader. Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, Jamie McMurray, Boris Said, the top 5. Then Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Reed Sorensen, and Juan Pablo Montoya. An update on Denny Hamlin from Ralph.
Bill, you know, we talked about Denny Hamlin having the troubles with the shifter. They passed all those pieces and components in through the driver's side window. Guess what? He got the job done. He got the nut off, then he dropped the vice grips, found them on the floor, got him back in his hands, completed the job. He's got a complete shifter, and he's moving up through the field.
Ralph, he's had an interesting weekend, hasn't he?
Boy, it has been brutal, Bill. As we documented at the beginning of the day in our pre-race show, he overslept on Saturday morning, missed some of that practice, and had to leave early to go to Milwaukee. He ended up getting in the race there very late because he couldn't land his helicopter, still won the race. Got back here about 3 in the morning, and then he has all the troubles with the shifter. He'll be happy, I think, when he finally gets back home and headed towards New Hampshire.
Man. Denny Hamlin back in the 18th spot. Let's check in with Matt.
Robbie Gordon retook the lead back on lap 55, but moments ago, this was some conversation between he and Gene Need, his crew chief.
Saved me a lot of fuel here, but if you knock it out of gear downhill, I'd be happy.
Been doing that all day, buddy. We're on the same page.
And they're right on target. And the fact that he got back up to the lead and did not have to use up his fenders was a big concern, trying to work his way back through that traffic. But right now, around lap 70, 71 is their target date for their next stop here on pit road.
They're going to have a long way to go if they stop around 70.
Yeah. They're counting on some yellows in there somewhere.
Yeah. Larry Mack changing batteries in the calculator right about now. Take a look at our AutoZone in the zone driver stat for today. I'm guessing it involves Martin Truex Jr. Yep, certainly running very well of late. Got the win, 3rd place and 2nd in his last 3 races. And you know he's looking forward to going to New Hampshire next week. Right now, though, in the 31st position on the racetrack for Martin Truex Jr. Jeff Gordon's back in the 12th spot. Jimmy Johnson runs 16th. Kyle's back in 26th. And Robbie Gordon is the race leader.
It's going to be pretty good. I think you've got a lot of pretty fast cars up there right now. You got a couple of cars in there that I think are in the middle of all that. But guys like Stewart and Boris, Jamie McMurray, I think they're going to be making a lot of moves here after this green flag flies.
Go to NASCAR.com and get track pass to see the same inside angles on every driver all race long. And we're under green. Edwards on that back bumper, Robbie. Kyle Busch watching it all. Tony Stewart on the move, back about 5th. Stewart got that position from Jeff Burton. That's Boris Said in the 60 and 5th.
See Kyle Busch there taking a look at the 99 of Carl Edwards, trying to figure out how maybe he can take that 2nd spot away. Meanwhile, you got Jamie McMurray there. He's run really good all day long. As is Boris Said, sitting right there in the 5th spot.
Update on, go ahead, Wally.
I was just going to say, this is one of those deals, you don't want to make a mistake right here, because if you're one of these guys who make one little mistake, you're going to lose a bunch of spots, because everybody's nose to tail. McMurray's going to take a look, I think. Wow, Kyle Busch saw him at the last second, gave him some room. They're going to drag race up the hill. McMurray's really in the best spot right there and gets in front of him. Matt?
Busch racing smart, though, Bill. His best finish here, 11th. Now, he runs better usually, more confidence at Watkins Glen, more of a high-speed track. This place is so technical, and that's one thing, Wally, that he worked on during final practice, working on his feet, being more consistent and more smooth. Marty?
Murray passed Kyle Busch up there. His best finish in Infinion Raceway is second. And he told me before he started the race, we saw that little clip of him going off the racetrack. That's what he wanted to avoid today. Being aggressive early in the race, but in the second half, if his car was good, he was going to go for it. Clearly, they have a fast car. A little 3 wide back there, Bill.
That's pretty exciting back in this pack.
New Stewart was going to try to push the issue with Forrest said, so I knew that was coming.
There's Tony in the 20, Said right behind him, then Jeff Burton. Junior in the 8.
Forrest said goes down to turn 11, gets on the brake. You're going to grab a couple of gears here. This is where you kind of get off the brake and just let the car roll. And you really want to jump on the throttle here, but you can't because the rear tires just want to spin off that corner. So you just kind of lay the throttle down.
McMurray got second from Carl Edwards. And Robbie Gordon trying to run away and hide. So it's McMurray, Edwards, then Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, the top 5. Carl Edwards last pitted on lap 28. Robbie on lap 35. McMurray on lap 36. Everybody looking around lap 70 would like to go a little deeper than that before they'd have to come back in. That's Butch Leitzinger in the 23 car for Bill Davis.
Yeah, the thing, and that's all great on paper, but somebody better get up there and start getting, putting some pressure on Robbie Gordon. It's not going to matter. Robbie Gordon's got a very fast car. He's out front. He's taking care of his equipment because he's out front. Nobody's putting any pressure on him. So somebody's got to figure out how they're going to do that, or they're racing for second.
Robbie led 81 laps here when he won in 2003.
Oh, there's Kurt Busch.
Yep. Trying to get it spun around, pointed in the right direction. A lot of traffic down there.
Like I said, whatever happened, whether he got hit, mistake, whatever, he just lost about 10 spots right there.
Let's go back and see if we can find out what happened to Kurt.
May have got tagged. I would say he definitely got tagged.
By the 42, and the 24 was right behind the 42.
Diving in. Inside barely, you're good.
And the 24 gets that position.
Well, we'll see if that chip gets around that 42 between now and the end of the race.
He's coming. Robbie Gordon is the race leader. 2 wins in 17 road course races, both in 2003. Can he get back to victory lane today? The Toyota SaveMart 350 from the Infinion Raceway in Sonoma is brought to you by Sprint. NASCAR Nextel Cup fans get things done with Nextel. By Pepsi Racing. Visit PepsiRacing.com and link to play Pepsi Fantasy Racing for free today. And by Gillette Fusion Power Phantom. Fusion Power is so advanced you barely feel the blades. Visit GilletteFusion.com to learn more. 64 laps are complete. Robbie Gordon has led 43 of them. He is the race leader now. Jamie McMurray runs second. Tony Stewart is third. Then Carl Edwards and Boris Said. Let's let these cars go past. Okay, Larry, really quick now.
Well, I don't want to underestimate anybody's ability to win this race, but I think with what we know, one more pit stop coming, I think it's Robbie Gordon's race to lose. But for Robbie, McMurray, Stewart, Edwards, Boris said, all these guys, one more stop. Remember, you can't have a mistake. You can't speed. You got to have all those lug nuts on. And especially, Marty, you can't stall it leaving your pit box.
Exactly right, Larry Mack, and that's key because of these tall first gears. It's easy to stall the car here on pit road. One of the games right now in the second half of the strategy is how early can you make that last stop. Some of the cars down here talking lap 68, maybe even chancing it to lap 67, but that would be a big risk. Most of the pit stops should happen around lap 70 to 71, somewhere in that range for the final stop of the day.
If you come in earlier than lap 70, you're either really confident or you're going to get really lucky and get a number of cautions.
I don't think confidence is going to get it done. Lucky might. Good race between Stewart and McMurray. Stewart's been slowly catching McMurray. I don't know how much Jamie will fight Stewart if Tony gets right to him.
He's just about there now.
I mean, there's no need. You're just logging laps right now until that pit stop on lap 70 or 71 like Marty was talking about.
Or 67 or 68.
If you feel confident.
Or lucky. Up on the curb. Riding along with Tony Stewart there for a moment. Trying to close the gap on McMurray. The fourth that reads Sorensen is smoking.
He's got a lot of damage. He hit somebody or something.
Try to get it going if you can. Return left if you have to.
Talking to his spotter. Stay under green.
That's the last car right there.
Trying to get it refired.
Ooh. Just lost it coming off that corner, that right-hander down the hill and hit the curb. Looks like he was already loose when he hit the curb, which just made it worse.
And now the caution comes out. So Reed Sorensen brings out the full course yellow here in Sonoma. Robbie Gordon will get back his 1 second lead, and the field will tighten up once again. And this could really play into the fuel mileage factor. And that could be big today. Caution's out at Sonoma. Robbie Gordon, the race leader. Still under caution here in Sonoma. Robbie Gordon is the race leader behind that Toyota Pace truck. There are 42 cars on the lead lap. Dave Blaney is the lucky dog. Sterling Marlin out of the race with engine failure earlier in the day. Time for our Aflac trivia question. Who is the only driver to compete in every race this season that has not led a lap?
I don't know. Don't ask me these questions.
Every race this season that has not led a lap. Wow. Could be somebody we've been talking about today.
Juan Pablo?
Yeah. Come on, change it.
Wally,
yes.
You got to read the notes they send to you each week. They're not junk mail.
What are you talking about?
Juan Pablo Montoya's the answer.
There you go. Very good, Larry Mack. Our Aflac trivia question. There's the duck. And there's our old buddy BP. Used to cue the duck for us. Got a good seat for the race today.
Are you telling me, Larry, that they send us the answers before we go to a race?
They send you information about the race.
So that means I still have to do some kind of homework.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I just look for slob when that question comes up, because I know he's holding the answer somewhere.
Now you got to explain that. That's our stat guy up here, Bill Sloboda. He looks like he's having a great day. I don't know. Look at these guys coming down pit road. This is about the window people were talking about. Snyder said 67, and by gosh, here they come. Lindsay,
And if you remember, Carl Edwards hasn't pitted since lap 28, so he will get 4 new tires, as we're told, and fuel. His crew chief is giving motivation, saying, guys, visualize, focus, do what you can do.
Marty McMurray here on pit road. I tell you guys, though, this is going to be very tight on making it on fuel from here to the end. There'll be 42 to go when they leave pit road, probably 40 when they get the green flag. That's a long way, Matt.
Boris said was basically following the car in front. Frankie Stoddard says, you are going to have to give me some laps if we stop here. And that's exactly what Boris is going to have to do, going fuel conservation while packing that fuel cell full of fuel. A little slow on exit, stalled it trying to get out, Ralphie.
Well, and 2 of Kurt Busch is in as well. They're going to make a chassis adjustment to that car as well. He's trying to fight his way back up after having the incident down in the final corner. Kurt Busch is underway.
And a lot of guys had trouble getting out of their pit stalls. There's Boris Said being pushed down pit road. Ron Fellows had to back up to get out of his stall.
Larry talked
about it. Keep it going. Clear high. 3100.
You make a mistake right now, leaving the pits or in the pits could cost you.
And we saw a lot of these guys, what would you call it, lugging off of pit road, because it's so hard to get your car going.
Oh, man. 66 was probably told, that's Jeff Green, probably told he was clear when he left pit lane, and Johnny Sauter in the 70 car was coming in. Now, I'm sure the 66 got some serious issues on that right front, because he hit Johnny Sauter hard. And then you see Boris being pushed.
And Fellows trying to sneak out.
But these gears are very, very long. They're tall first gears, so you can use them in the corners on the racetrack. So when that happens, then you can't get out of the pit. So you give up a little on pit lane to make it up on the racetrack. But something like that happens sometimes.
And the 66.
And he does have issues, yeah, because I thought he hit him pretty hard.
He's also too fast exiting pit road, so just to add to his list of troubles. Frankie Stoddard, Boris Said's crew chief, one of the more excitable crew chiefs along pit road.
Obviously somebody was annoying him behind him.
Matt?
Now Frankie is shaking that off. Now he's just trying to compartmentalize it. He's basically telling Boris, look, I know you're sorry, because Boris keeps apologizing on the radio. Says, look, we've got to get the fuel mileage of our lives here. Shut it off and coast as much as possible. We know we're going to need to pick up a few laps here. Do all you can to help me out. Marty.
Well, Matt, just to give you an update on what the leaders are thinking in terms of fuel mileage, most all of them cannot make it all the way to the checkered flag. They're about 2.5 laps short. They will need some caution to make it from here to the end.
And it's going to be interesting to see how it works out for Robbie Gordon and Tony Stewart and some of these other guys up front. Tony Stewart was in 15th on lap 47 when we restarted, was running 4th, and then was faster than Robbie before the caution came out on lap 68.
All right, you know, I talked about somebody getting up there and putting some pressure as Jeff Green's car is finally caught on fire. I'm sure that tire is just going to come apart. Oof, that's looking pretty ugly right now.
Jeff, stop.
Must have knocked off a line or something there. But anyway, Tony Stewart is going to start giving some pressure to Robbie Gordon, and that's what's got to happen. And that's a lot of pressure right there.
Stewart stays in the gas.
And you know, Stewart made a great pass there. He was in position. And Robbie looks like he's had a little bit of trouble on the restart. His car doesn't start going until the second half of that lap after a restart. Stewart may have saw that, but he made a really nice pass. He jumped out there and he got in position to be in the right place on that right-hander. Rolls down in there. Robbie probably felt him more than he saw him. Gave him a little bit of room, and here's where he paid it off.
And through turn 11, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to take second from Robbie Gordon. So Stewart to first, Jr. to second, Gordon slips to third. And it's Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson. J.J. Yaley runs sixth.
Now it'll be interesting to watch that 7-car Robbie Gordon and see if Robbie just maintains the nice, smooth pace that he's been running when he was in the lead.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be watching for that. Matt?
Bill, lap 73, that's when they are looking at hitting pit road for the 7. But before that last caution, when Robbie was out front and Big Orange was back in third, this was the conversation, the concern on the radio of the 7.
The guy we're racing is going to be the guy behind McMurray. That's who will be racing here.
I told you guys that 2 weeks ago. It come down to him and Gordon, and no matter where they're at, they'll get there at the end. They always do.
Robbie thought he had a tire going down, but then one of his spotters on the track said, you've been dipping your left rear off in the dirt. Maybe that's the sensation that you're feeling, because he thought he had a soft tire on the left rear.
Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart have combined to win 14 of the last 19 road course races. This pit summary brought to you by NASCAR Hot Pass, only on DirecTV. Stewart now running first. Earnhardt Jr. second. Made those passes of Robbie Gordon on the track.
Jimmy Johnson right there in the 5th spot, right behind Ryan Newman. Newman's been up there all day running a good race.
And Johnson started 42nd. He and Jeff Gordon not allowed to practice or qualify on Friday after their cars failed inspection. Wow, some heavy braking there.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of smoke off that right front. What's happening is you're on the brakes, you're turning the car, and you're on at the same time. What happens is that right front gets light. When you're turning the car, you're on the brakes, everything is on the left front. So when you get on the brakes, that right front being light, when it comes back down on the ground, it stops. So it slides across the racetrack. And you got to get off it right away, because sometimes it's very hard for that car to turn.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. heads for his pits. He's never had a top 10 finish here. His best finish at this track, 11th. Gives up the 2nd spot to head for pit road with 71 laps complete, and now 72 in the books. Ralph.
Well, lap 72 is exactly when they expected to pit Dale Earnhardt Jr., and that's what they're doing. He's had a very good run today. In fact, at the halfway point, he said, boys, write this down. It's halfway, and we're top 10. He's just happy to be in contention here this afternoon. The crew goes over to wall. They go to work on the right side of the car. We're expecting 4 tires and fuel. No major changes to the car. Junior very happy with the setup on this Budweiser number 8. Service is done, and here goes Junior.
And you can see the trouble he has getting out of his pit stall. Off of pit road. There's your race leader, Tony Stewart. Robbie Gordon has now inherited 2nd after Junior pitted. Stewart is just coming through, heading for turn 10 and 11. See the information on the Pepsi pit command. And more on Tony from Ralph.
Bill, this is a really good time to watch the lap times on Tony Stewart, because as soon as he took over the lead, the crew said, Tony, give us 6 of the hardest laps you got in you. He says the car's doing pretty good. He's not feeling any major problems in any particular part of the handling of the car. Where he needs it the most, Wally, is in forward bite.
Yeah, I think everybody's been complaining about that a little bit, Ralph, this weekend. It seems like, ooh.
What was that?
Yeah, he got on the brakes, and the car started to get sideways, but recovered. And don't forget, he's pushing this car probably as hard as he can right now.
And it's just little things like that that come back and bite you on a road course. Nice catch. Martin Truex Jr. is on pit road. Ralph?
Here comes Martin down pit lane. This is chassis 057. It's a brand new chassis for Martin Truex. His service complete. He is back underway. No major changes to this car as well.
Whoa, a little trouble there.
Man. That was unusual. Here's Robbie Gordon on pit road. Gives up second place. He's got a long trip down pit road. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, because these guys are going to have to catch the field now. And the other guys that stopped earlier going to be hoping for caution. Coming your way, Matt.
Phil, it seems like it's been all or nothing at Infinion for Robbie Gordon over the past few years. He hasn't led the last 3 races and back on track today. Now, Gordon just came on the radio when they told him to pit next time by. He says, "Are you sure? Is that not too early?" Gene Neat simply said, "Look, just trust us." Remember one thing, Robbie Gordon earlier in the race, he said he had about a half a second left in the car. He was just riding, just pacing himself. He needs a good solid stop now so he can make up what he lost on the racetrack, and he is away. Solid stop by these 7 guys.
Good job, guys. All clear.
On board with Robbie as he gets back up to speed. And now Tony Stewart gives up the race lead and heads for his pit stall.
Stop you short because the 48's coming in around you. We're going to stop you a little short, okay? 4 needs water. 4. You got it.
Headed your way, Ralph.
This should be the last pit stop for Tony Stewart. He slides in. Now they're planning on working on that forward bike. You can see they put the bar in to make an adjustment to the track bar. They're going to go a half round down on that track bar. Outside of that, it's going to be fuel and tires, and they think they should be in a pretty good position with their car. And off goes Tony Stewart. Just in front of him, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. I asked Chad Canals, will this be your last stop? He still wasn't sure. Service is done. The low Chevy is underway.
And here comes Jeff Gordon challenging Jamie McMurray for the lead. Gordon started 41st. McMurray started on the pole. Matt Kenseth has gone around. This is not Matt's favorite place.
Come on.
Road course racing is not exactly his style. Gordon in second behind McMurray. They head for 11. Kevin Harvick in third. Then Montoya runs 4th. Kyle Busch 5th.
This time, pit, fuel only.
That was on the 24 radio.
That was fuel only, Larry.
Yeah, I know what they're doing, Wally. I knew when they put lap 68, they could not make it with that 24 car to the end. So the reason he elected to bring the pit road under that caution with 42 to go was to put the tires on this way on the green. They'll spend just a little bit of time there, just topping it off with fuel. That's a good move, knowing they couldn't make it on lap 68.
Those guys have a long way to go on fuel that stopped under the caution. Marty, how about Harvick?
Well, Bill, conventional wisdom in the garage area this morning said the RCR cars were getting some of the best fuel mileage yesterday in practice. That may prove true today in the race as well. Kevin Harvick pitted on lap 67. I just asked Todd Berrier, how close are you on fuel? He said it's too close to call if it goes green. If we get any caution at all, we're good to go to the end.
Here comes Gordon. Gives up second place. And we heard this would be fuel only.
36 when you get around to the line there.
Here comes Lindsay.
This ain't gonna take long. This ain't gonna take long right here. Come on down.
Bill, just like you said, their whole key right now is simply track position, fuel mileage, staying out there, gas only. Jeff Gordon feels really good about his car. We'll see how far he can get.
These road course races, there are so many cards in the deck. It's just amazing how they play out. Larry, you got a few cards you want to play?
Well, what I just wanted you to notice, they stopped for about 3 to 4 seconds. So by putting those tires on that last caution, they saved themselves about 8 to 9 seconds under this green flag run.
So now Harvick runs second behind McMurray and Montoya to third. Joe Nemechek. Not the first time he's been in trouble today.
I can't believe it.
The frustration of a driver on the road course at Sonoma. Jamie McMurray is the race leader, but we've got a long way to go. Things are heating up on a June Sunday afternoon at Infinion Raceway in Sonoma, California. Jamie McMurray is the race leader. Kevin Harvick is trying to chase him down, and Juan Pablo Montoya is right behind him in third. This summer, prepare to experience NASCAR like never before. A revolutionary new way to watch racing is coming to TNT during the Pepsi 400 from Daytona. TNT will unveil its new wide-open coverage. Wide-open coverage will bring you more racing action in a widescreen format while also having fewer commercials. Don't miss wide-open coverage from the Pepsi 400 in Daytona on July 7th only on TNT. McMurray leads Harvick. 30 laps to go. Who's going to have enough fuel? Who's going to run out?
Man.
28 laps to go in Sonoma, and Kevin Harvick is really racing hard to try and catch and pass leader Jamie McMurray.
Yeah, he's been applying the pressure, and Montoya's right there. He's closed up quite a bit on these two guys as well.
How hard do you think Montoya is driving right now?
I think Montoya's driving about as hard as he's ever driven.
Okay, that's going on up front. A lot of talk about fuel mileage as Harvick again tries to make the move for the lead, but McMurray holds him off. Kyle Petty's also in fuel conservation mode. Here was his conversation a little while ago.
All right, this is the time of the race where everybody's saving fuel, because it looks like fuel strategy is going to be the thing today. And everybody's just trying to stay off each other, stay on the racetrack, because nobody wants a caution right now. Nobody.
Harvick trying to close in on McMurray. And a lot of these guys had stopped before lap 70. Trying to save fuel and get to the finish. There's Robbie Gordon. He's coming to the start-finish line right about now. And Robbie is currently scored.
He's like 31st spot right now. I mean, he's over a half a lap behind the leaders.
He's 45 seconds behind the leaders, pitted under the green after leading 48 laps today.
I may need help from Larry on this one.
Well, in the meantime, let's check with Marty.
Well, guys, this is getting interesting down here on pit road in the speed department. I think the top cars are pretty close to the same. Jamie McMurray, though, in the fuel department is not equal to the man behind him. McMurray, 3 laps short on fuel. No way they can make it to the end of this race. They definitely need some caution laps. Kevin Harvick, however, I just talked to Todd Barrier once again. He reiterated they are very close on fuel, even under green. They think they should be able to make it all the way. Interesting for Kevin Harvick in that 29 car. Juan Pablo Montoya behind Harvick, however, is 2 laps short. They, too, need at least 1 caution period in these final few laps at Infinion if they hope to make it all the way on fuel. Juan Pablo currently in 3rd. Matt?
Kyle Busch right on the line of making it. He currently runs in the 4th position. They keep stressing to him. Alan Gustafson says every lap, you have to save me fuel. Meanwhile, back in the 5th position, Jeff Burton. They've continued to calculate their fuel mileage. They are 2/10 of a lap to the good. So at this point, this could be a career Infinion kind of day for Jeff Burton.
Last week's race winner, Carl Edwards, hopes that they can make it on fuel. I just talked to crew chief Bob Osborne. That's exactly what he said. I hope so. They last pitted on lap 67. They took fuel right now. Carl in the 6th spot. To Matt.
Clint Boyer, not quite as good a fuel mileage as his teammates in the 29 and the 31, but right now, Boyer is right on the line of making it.
Well, I mean, if you're Kevin Harvick, all you got to do is drive, don't you? I mean, you know,
if you're sure.
Yeah, I mean, if these guys are confident, then they've got the fuel mileage. If this thing goes green,
Just stay where you're at. These guys are going to be going away from you because they're going to need to come in for gas in extra time.
And meanwhile, Robbie Gordon's back there in 31st, hoping everybody in front of him has to stop. Then he can come up, re-inherit the lead. That's a lot of hoping to do. Jamie McMurray leads at Sonoma. For others, right now, Jamie McMurray is the race leader. Kevin Harvick runs second, Juan Pablo Montoya in third. Then it's Kyle Busch, Jeff Burton, and Carl Edwards. Marty, what are you thinking?
Well, I was watching Kevin Harvick out there, and we were talking about how he was pressuring Jamie McMurray, who's in front of him. I think Harvick's game plan's changed a little bit, Wally. I think now he's more pacing Jamie McMurray. You see he's falling back a little bit from McMurray. He's not pushing him. He knows McMurray cannot make it on fuel. He also knows that Montoya cannot make it on fuel. So I think at this point, Harvick just out there pedaling, turning in laps.
I mean, that's what I would be doing. If you know the guy in front of you and right behind you has got to stop in extra time, there's no reason to abuse your equipment. He's running great lap times, and he's not abusing it.
And these guys cannot make it if it stays green, but they stopped on lap 68 under the caution, hoping there'd be more cautions that would give them the fuel mileage that would get them to the end. But Harvick's crew believes he can get there.
Looking good, man. Plenty of room.
And one thing Kyle did tell us this morning is that some of the Chevrolets had gotten very good mileage.
Yep. And that is true.
It's when he wasn't bragging about his golf game, as I recall. There's Harvick. You know, if Montoya can get up to the 29, it'll be interesting to see how he tries to pass them. There are your top three. Just to update a couple of other cars, you see the ticker going across the top of your screen. Robbie Gordon runs 30th, about 47 seconds behind the leader. Jimmy Johnson is 31st. Jeff Gordon is 19th. He's 28 seconds behind the race leaders. Our fellow broadcaster, Kyle Petty, is in the 14th spot. And his day got off to an interesting start. Here's how some of it went.
That's a good move. I don't care what anybody says. All right, this is the part of the race where you just kind of settle into a rhythm, because I'm not going to catch a bunch of these guys, and when I do, I'm going to wear my stuff out trying to get around them. Tried to sneak in when Reed passed the 44. Couldn't get it. You saw how he shut the door on me right there. That's road racing, baby! Watch these crowd in front of me. The 1, the 07, 43. They are running at each other. Told you guys they were going to wreck. Y'all are in the truck watching.
Thank you, Kyle. Well done. He loves road course, and like you, I mean, I know you love it, but he really loves driving this track in Watkins Glen.
And he's pretty good on it. Yep. I mean, Kyle does a good job. He run the 24 Hours Daytona a bunch of times, and he'll drive anything on a road course.
Your top three cars, 20 to go. McMurray, Harvick, and Montoya. Harvick's guys believe he can make it, and they don't believe anybody else can. Robbie Gordon wants to think none of those guys will. TNT Sports live at Infinion Raceway in Sonoma, California. There goes your new second-place car behind race leader Jamie McMurray. Juan Pablo Montoya went around Kevin Harvick. And this is a situation where Harvick knows I can make it, and you can't.
Yep, he's not going to force you. It's just still a good pass. I mean, Montoya set him up for an out-braking maneuver, but absolutely, I'm sure Harvick looked up in the mirror, and he knows that he can't go as far as he can on fuel, so don't force the issue.
Marty?
That was more of a wave by than anything, guys, as you pointed out, Wally. They reminded him once again that Juan Pablo was short on fuel. Don't push the issue. 20 laps to go. We've got plenty of time, so Harvick let him go by. Up front, though, Jamie McMurray radioed to his crew and said, guys, I'm running out of fuel. They said there's no way. Now, yesterday in practice, they did have a fuel pickup problem in the 26 car that turned out to be an ignition problem. They thought it was a fuel pickup problem. They changed out the entire ignition system, so now they're a little concerned in the 26 pit. That may be the issue. Jamie just asked again, can I go hard enough to stay in front of the 42? They said at this point, there's no way we're making it on fuel. Go as hard as you want.
Which is exactly what Montoya is doing, too. He would love to get up there and lead this race. Seeing smoke on the tires.
Yeah, just about everybody seems like they're smoking that right front going into that turn over there.
163 races since Jamie McMurray went to victory lane at Charlotte in his second career start. And if you believe the fuel mileage numbers, he's going to have a tough time getting there today. Juan Pablo trying to close in.
All you can save. I mean, everybody's trying to save here. We've still got 16 to go.
Again, I don't think they're going to listen. If you're talking to Montoya, Montoya sees that lead. I think he wants it.
In second right now, inside of 16 to go at Infinion Raceway in Sonoma, California. Jamie McMurray leads. Jamie McMurray is the race leader, but he's got his hands full with Juan Pablo Montoya on his bumper.
Yeah, I think Jamie's feeling something with the car. He thinks he's running out of gas. The team is telling him there's no way you're running out of gas. In the meantime, he's got that 42 car filling his mirror. Marty, what's going on down there?
It's the same thing they had yesterday, Wally. It's like a problem Jamie feels in the car, like it stutters, but they're not sure what it is. And Larry Carter just asked him, are you sure you're not looking at the water gauge? Maybe it shows 0. Something else that shows 0, but it's always at the top of the hill. Jamie says it feels like it stumbles when it gets up to the top of the hill.
But he says he's got a gauge showing 0? Is that what you said, Marty?
Larry was hoping that's what it might have been. And there was no response from Jamie. He said, are you looking at the water gauge maybe? You're looking at something else, another gauge that might show 0.
Well, I'll tell you what, if the water gauge is showing 0, that thing's going to blow up any second.
But he's doing that fuel stumble. That's from feel, isn't it? That's not from a lighter.
And usually when it's at the top of the hill, it's almost like a float thing. It's like you've got your floats off. And you know, I've had that happen here. But it normally doesn't happen when you're already, you know, 60, 70, 80 laps into a race. It happens when you first unload. I'm sure Larry will tell me I'm wrong, but his voice is hurting, so we won't go to him right away.
Looking good, man. Just keep on him right there. Looking good. A lot of room.
On board with Montoya. 13 to go. Was really working him over. Lost a little bit of ground here.
It almost sounds like Montoya short-shifting right now. Earlier, when these guys were getting off of that corner, you could hear them wheel spinning. They were jumping in gear, and they were just hammering a throttle. Those two shifts that Montoya just made sound like he was short-shifting, like he was trying to save a little bit of fuel. Or tires.
Right.
Could be more tires.
Marty.
Well, guys, remember Montoya also short on fuel. Lap and a half to 2 laps short on fuel. Donnie Wingo did tell him that Jamie McMurray has a greater fuel crisis than Montoya does. The only problem, he said, with the car all day long, as we've heard from many teams, he wanted a little more forward bite on that last stop. They took a half pound out of both rear tires trying to help him out. They've been fast. Now they're in position to win. Do they have the fuel to make it? That's the question.
And there's only one way to answer it. Keep clicking off laps. Update you on Robbie Gordon, back in the 27th spot. Jimmy Johnson in 28th.
Let's see here. Let's see here. He made a look. Block job. Used the bumper. Jamie uses the door. Lots of pieces you can use on these cars.
They're good.
And hangs on to the lead.
He's going to mess up. Nice and smooth, still plenty of room. Again, because you've got him staring in that mirror.
Okay, now see if he doesn't quite have enough here.
Not close enough?
No, he's not close enough, but trust me, McMurray's looking in that mirror. He's not giving him the inside, but now he's got to be careful there too, because he's off line. You want to enter high, go low, exit high. If you're blocking sometimes, that'll mess up your line, getting from the middle off, and a driver will get you there.
So Montoya will continue to work over McMurray. The question is, can either of these cars find some way to make it to the finish without running out of fuel? Now it's time for our Nextel Getting It Done call of the race. Give a call to a car or a crew that's done a good job today. Want to pick one out?
Kind of early, isn't it?
Oh.
No? Not too early? Oh, boy. I hate to pick one now.
I'm going to give it to Robbie Gordon. Just for having a good race, see if their strategy comes back to help them out here. So I'll give a call out to Robbie today.
Well, I tell you, right now, I'm going to go with the 26 car. I mean, McMurray's run good here, so obviously started on the pole. Jamie's done a great job all race. He's got one of the best road course drivers in the world on his rear bumper right now, so I'll give it a call to Jamie McMurray.
Our Nextel call of the race. Just our opinion. Feel free to add yours.
I'm sure they will.
Harvick in third, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, Jeff Burton. There's a great shot up the hill. Right-hander.
Montoya's definitely getting into the corner better, but it seems like Jamie McMurray is getting off the corner a little bit better. We heard Marty talk about the 42. A little bit of forward bite problem, and I think you can see that. This is a great shot, and you can see McMurray can pull out the corners a little bit better, but Montoya drives in a little bit deeper.
Activity on pit road, Matt.
Ron Fellows gave up the 9th position, Bill. They just could not squeak out enough mileage on fuel. They're only going to need about 2 seconds of fuel, just a splash, and he's away.
And again, because you cannot get these cars out of the pit stall because of the gearing, the transmission, you're going to lose a little bit more time while you're in there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of these guys just drop the clutch and just, I mean, light the tires up. But then you got to slow down again and be on pit, the pit road speed.
Heading into 11.
See, if he was just a little bit closer, you would have seen an aggressive move on braking. But it just doesn't seem like he's close enough in turn 10 to set him up for the pass in 11.
Started 32nd, right on the bumper of race leader Jamie McMurray. Montoya won the Busch race in Mexico City earlier this year after contact with Scott Pruitt, the race leader.
Oh, he's close enough now. If he can stay there, he may try it down on that right-hander coming up right down here.
The other thing he's got to hope for is that McMurray doesn't run out of gas while he's right there.
See, McMurray, and he may force McMurray to making a mistake. Now, McMurray just took a defensive line here, so this should get interesting. Nope, not enough. But McMurray now is driving in his mirror, and that sometimes ruins your rhythm.
He can only defend it so much. You're good.
Because you're worried about what he's doing and not focused on what you're doing.
Exactly. And if you miss your mark on a corner because you're looking up in the mirror at the guy that's trying to pass you, you may blow that corner and open up the door for him to pass you.
You have to get through 10 good to get through 11 well.
Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, McMurray saw him coming.
Oh,
and he blew it.
And Montoya could not hang on to it, and McMurray stays in the lead. That'll peg the frustration meter.
That was good stuff.
Montoya may be so surprised that it was right there. On these road courses, just the instant lapse of concentration costs you.
Yes. And not that there was any lack of concentration. I mean, he just went in really, really deep. He saw the opening. He was close enough. Locked up that right front tire. When you lock up the right front tire, it won't turn. And that's why he went straight.
And here he comes again. Look at him go.
Yeah, they're driving into that corner really, really hard. They are smoking that right front down and when they're under braking.
Less than 8 to go. Kevin Harvick sits in third. Again, the story from pit road is both these cars, short on fuel, will not be able to reach the finish. Back to 11.
Watch Montoya as he works up here across the start-finish line. Fairly close right now to McMurray, but it's tough to make a pass going up into turn 1. Unless McMurray blows a corner a little bit, then he can get up beside him.
Trying for the lead, and Montoya's got it.
That was a nice pass.
5 or 10 car lengths, and we can save a lot.
So Juan Pablo Montoya, in his first season in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series, has the lead at Sonoma with less than 7 to go. Marty?
Well, guys, both crew chiefs down here like head coaches in a football game, guiding their drivers through these laps. They both know they cannot make it all the way on fuel. They've reminded their drivers of that a couple of times and reminded them to be smooth. They also know Harvick, lurking behind, can make it all the way on fuel.
There's Harvick in that yellow car back in third. Here's the pass for the lead.
Wow. I mean, Montoya just drove up beside him.
That's surprising, yes. So now Montoya will come around and get credited with leading a lap. That's his first lap led this season. Report that Kyle Busch has been on pit road. There's Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart. Gordon's in 11th, Stewart in 12th.
But these guys are also about 30 seconds behind the leader.
A number of the race leaders pitted under a caution on lap 68, basically right at the edge of their fuel window. From some of the numbers we got in the garage earlier this weekend, past the edge. You see Montoya just going at the bottom of your screen. Then McMurray and then Harvick. That's first, second, and third. Head into turn 11. Be 5 to go when they get to the line this time.
I know you are easy as you can be on that gas, easy as you can be. 5 to go, nice and smooth, save all the fuel you can.
You got it, Wally?
And don't get passed.
I'll tell you, this is when you're down on pit road, working with one of these teams, trying to figure out the fuel mileage, hoping your guy can make it.
On that track, I'll let you know where he's at. You're good.
Montoya, then McMurray. Saw the piece Matt did with Juan on the Allstate countdown to green. Again, this is back in 10th now. Gordon in 10th. Stewart in 11th. 28.5 seconds behind the race leader. Big story for the 24 team as Tony looks to the inside.
contact. Tony got in there. I mean, he was sideways wrecking. Jeff Gordon, I think, kept him from spinning out right there.
McMurray is pulled right up on the bumper of Montoya.
I wonder if that car sputtered, Bill.
You'll find out going up the hill, won't you?
I try to save fuel and downshift too late. Simple. Pull back away from it.
So Montoya missed 11.
Yep. He's trying to save fuel, shift later.
Overdrove.
He doesn't know how to do that. Well, it does. It breaks your rhythm. It's funny to say, but it's easier to drive one of these race cars hard than try to say, okay, knock a second off your time. It's hard to do that because you're used to just driving all out all the time.
This is a moment ago. There you see, clearly missed the turn. And McMurray almost got it back.
It knocks off your rhythm when you try to slow down.
Because you're used to doing it one way.
Exactly. All out.
Be 3 to go at the line this time.
Now Harvick's got to be sitting there wondering, man, I wonder if I'm getting the right information.
They told me these guys were going to run out of gas.
Yeah, it's 3 to go, and I'm sitting here in third, and maybe I should start pedaling.
And again, Harvick has to make sure that if they do run out, he's not right on their bumper when they do.
Right, because you're not going to have much time to react.
It's Carl Edwards in the 4th spot, that red car behind the 29. There are your top 4 cars inside of 3 to go in Sonoma. Edwards won last week at Michigan. Harvick won at Watkins Glen last year. McMurray won 163 races ago, and Juan Pablo Montoya is looking for his first NASCAR Nextel Cup Series win.
I think Harvick stepped it up a little bit.
Sure looks like it. Or McMurray, you know, backed off a little bit. But he's clearly closing ground. Lindsay?
Bill, it has happened to Carl Edwards. They were worried. They knew it was going to be really, really tight, and he is out of fuel. So right now his crew is getting up on the wall. They're going to bring him down, fill him back up. His crew chief, Bob Osborne, was telling him, just be smooth, keep running like you're running. But it's not like he wanted to end this day.
Coasting his way through turn 10 rather, and then on to pit road on the left-hand side. 2 laps to go.
McMurray's out.
Here comes Harvick for second, and McMurray will never make it back.
No, he's run out of gas at the worst place you can, just past pit entrance.
Marty?
It bobbled, it came back, Bill. He said it came back, but McMurray's fairly sure he's out of fuel. And it looks like this will be it for Jamie McMurray. He'll have a tough time making it back to pit road, Bill.
Well, he's still under power, Marty, but you're right. I mean, if he bobbled getting off of 11, he's going to have a hard time making all the way back around.
There's Juan Pablo Montoya, the race leader, and Harvick in second. Montoya was told he wouldn't have enough fuel to make it to the finish, and that's what Harvick's team told him about Montoya. Whereas Harvick should have enough fuel.
Let her roll all you can. Let her roll all you can.
Marty Snyder.
Well, guys, Montoya trying to save all the fuel he can. You can feel the nerves down here in the 42 pit. This is a young man who grew up not having enough money for public transportation, he recalls. He used to take his rollerblades everywhere he would go. He got a shot in 1997 at the Formula 3000 season, and that was the break he was looking for. Finished second in that championship in his rookie year, and the F1 teams took notice. The Williams team picked him up, put him in their F3000 ride, won the championship, beat out Nick Heidfeld. Of course, the story's going to F1, and now here in Nextel Cup, on the verge of winning his first ever race. His wife Connie looks on. Can the fuel hold out for Montoya?
Less than a lap ago, white flag in the air at Sonoma.
Just keep up as much speed you can through here.
He's got about 4 seconds on Harvick right now, so if he can just drive it smooth and keep the thing running, he's got a good shot. He's done a great job today. I mean, he really has run aggressively, but he raced everybody pretty much clean. Got a half a lap to go.
All good. It's clear by like 30 or 40. All clear. Lots of room.
There's Harvick in second. Montoya told Matt Yoakum earlier this week in the piece we ran earlier today that he didn't think his childhood dream of becoming a professional racer would ever come true, because you don't get many professional racers coming out of his country of Colombia. Final turn into 11, then the short jog for turn 12. Juan Pablo Montoya coming to the checkered flag. The fuel lives, and Montoya wins at Sonoma. That's amazing.
That is amazing. And there's a...
Great job, everybody! Oh, yeah! Good job, buddy. Good job, driver. Good job, everybody. Good job, Rudy. Good job, motor guys.
I second that.
And 4!
He's the first foreign-born driver to win a Cup race since Canadian Earl Ross at Martinsville in 1974. And only the second ever. Juan Montoya is the winner. How about that? The Toyota SaveMart 350 from the Infinion Raceway in Sonoma, California is brought to you by Subway Restaurants, Subway Eat Fresh, by FedEx, every day is race day, by DirecTV, ride shotgun on race day with NASCAR Hot Pass only on DirecTV, and by Miller Lite. For an award-winning taste, there's no debate. Miller Lite. Good call. And a good call by the 42 crew. They got Juan Pablo Montoya, his first win in his 17th NASCAR Nextel Cup Series start. Lindsay Zarniak.
I'm here with Donnie Wingo, crew chief for Juan Pablo Montoya. Considering how this weekend started for you guys, qualifying so poorly, Donnie, how good does this feel for you?
I mean, it feels really good. You know, not for just the Texaco Hamlin team. I mean, with all their support, we couldn't do this, but the whole organization, you know. It's been a long time coming. We've had a few seconds, but finally to get a win for this whole group of people is great. You know, everybody back at the shop has been really working hard, and we've been struggling a little bit lately, but nobody's given up, and to leave here with a win, to finally get a win for those guys, it just makes me feel good to be a part of it.
You told me he's a special driver, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, definitely. I mean, you know, we qualified bad, but we had a really good car in practice. You know, we just kind of missed it a little bit qualifying. And so today we had to play a little bit of catch-up, so we had to take a gamble there at the end, and we made our last stop, and he saved enough fuel to make it, because, I mean, we had it figured to be like a lap short. So he did a good job saving fuel. Everybody did a good job on stops, and Motor Shop did a great job. I mean, without the fuel mileage, we never would have made it.
Donnie Wingo helps Juan Pablo Montoya find his first victory in the Nextel Cup. Bill?
Thanks, Lindsay. Toyota would like to congratulate Juan Pablo Montoya for winning today's Toyota SaveMart 350. He's in victory lane, and so is Marty Snyder.
Well, the first report to him was that he was about 3 laps short on fuel. The second report to him was that he was 2 laps short on fuel, and at the end they said, you know what, you're only about 1 lap short. I think you should go for it. Juan Montoya, 31-year-old Colombian native, wins in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. How about that? How'd you save all that fuel?
I think it was the work on the team. You know, yesterday we leaned the car out, and I had a lot of problems getting out on first gear out of the 2 hairpins, but, you know, it paid off.
What was the emotion like in the car? Were you worried about the fuel there on the final few laps?
I knew it was going to be close, and I said, you know, save as much as you can, and if it is, it is, and we did a good job.
Tell me about your pass on McMurray. It looked awfully smooth. Did it feel as smooth as it looked?
Yeah, I had a good run, and I thought, you know, can't outbrake him in all the hairpins because he's very easy to brake, so that was the best place.
You act like you've been here before.
15 years ago.
But, I mean, it means a lot, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, I get my first Nextel Cup with my Texaco Hamlin Dodge and all Chip Ganassi. It's huge.
All right, guys, he does it on fuel mileage. Juan Pablo saves it in the end, gets his first ever Nextel Cup Series win. Bill?
Thanks, Marty. First CARB tomorrow win for a make other than Chevy. Celebration in victory lane about to begin. And Juan celebrating in the car.
Good job, buddy. Good job, driver. Good job, everybody. Good job, Rudy. Good job, motor guys.
Fans came out and saw a wild race here in Sonoma, and Juan Pablo Montoya gets his first Nextel Cup Series win.
Pretty impressive. really is. For the whole team. The team did a good job. I don't know. I mean, they snookered us. We thought they were running out of fuel. I think so did Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, I think he did too.
But Juan ran a really good race. It was great calls, and they're where they want to be.
And congratulations to his car owner, Chip Ganassi. Let's go down to Mark and Larry.
All right, Bill, you heard Juan Pablo say that he was, it was about 15 years ago that he was out here when he was 16 years old, a racing school here at Sonoma the last time he was on the track before this year. Hey, for the kids at home who like NASCAR, if this doesn't teach you to study your math, nothing will. This really came down to one big math problem, didn't
it? Well, it did, Mark, and what's interesting is the only Chevrolets that looked like they were getting decent mileage and they could make this race 2 stops were the Childress cars. They ended up finishing 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But I'm happy for Donnie Wingo because in an age when a lot of engineering's coming in here, Donnie Wingo, like old Larry Mack, he's old school, with a good handling race car, and this won the race today.
And the only thing more impressive than getting all the fuel they got out of that 42 car is you getting all you got out of your boys today. Good work.
That's all.
Appreciate it. That's all you got. All right, it's all we got. Let's get it down to Matt Yoakum, who's with Kevin Harvick. Matt?
For the first time since the spring, Kevin Harvick scores a top 5 finish, and you were just talking things over with Ty Barrier. How tough to try to hold back to conserve a little bit of fuel?
Well, our whole Shell Pennzoil team did a great job today, and on his Chevrolet, but you know, we knew we were close, and he came on the radio, Todd did, and just said, hey, you got 20 laps, give me one. So I let the 42 go, and really felt like I saved a lot of gas, and just tried to stay in front of the 5 and the 99 just fast enough to do that, and maybe we saved enough, so that's what we had to do. So you always want to win, but in the big picture, that was what we had to do.
A year ago at Watkins Glen, he went to Victory Lane. Today, he finishes 2nd here at Infinia.
Well, Jeff Burton, that's a hard-earned 3rd place considering you had major suspension problems and everything this weekend. What was the difference in you getting this car to the finish today in the 3rd?
Fuel mileage. I mean, obviously we worked really hard, you know, all last year and this year on fuel mileage, and you know, that's huge at these places, and it paid off for us today. We had a good car. I mean, we certainly had a top 10 car. We got really loose the 2nd run and really tight the 3rd run. The 1st run we were really good, but good run for us. We ran competitive all day. I spent a couple weeks ago at the Kevin Harvick Institute of Road Course Driving, and that helped me a lot. I got my degree and everything. It's didn't cost a whole lot either. It was pretty cheap. Anybody looking to go?
Jeff Gordon was able to go from 41st to 7th. Jeff, how'd you feel about your run today?
I thought it was a great run. You know, I thought Steve Letarte, all the guys on the DuPont Chevrolet, just called this race perfectly. To come from that far back inside the top 10, we had a great car. You know, once we got into some clean air and could make some good lap times, you know, we played the strategy the best way we possibly could. We had some cautions fall our way, which was a good fortune for us to gain some spots, but you know, those guys were able to make it all the way. We just weren't, and we had to come in and get a splash and go. And it was fun racing with Tony. You know, I think he's one of the greats out here. And you know, I don't mind if we bump and bang every once in a while, as long as we don't crash. And you know, it was fun, you know, to be able to come from that far back. I'll tell you what, it was tough. I mean, I thought there for a few times I was going to be passing any cars. I just couldn't make any passes. And early on, we were real tight, and we finally got the car freed up, and that helped us.
And for the first time, Jeff Gordon gets to go home to his baby girl. Bill.
Thanks, Lindsay. Take a look at the unofficial point standings after today's race. And, of course, the big news this week will be what NASCAR decides to do with the 24 and 48 teams after they failed inspection here on Friday. That news expected to come Monday or Tuesday from NASCAR. You see Junior hangs on to the 12th spot.
You see McMurray there, 14th. Now, he wound up finishing 37th. Boy, that top 2 or 3 finish would have really helped him.
And Robbie Gordon led 48 laps, had a disappointing finish. Next week, it's NASCAR Next Up Racing from Loudon. Join us on Sunday. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern with NASCAR on TNT Live, followed by the All-State Countdown to Green, and then the race from New Hampshire International Speedway. Coming up next, in the East, Robert Redford in the last. Castle is next. And out west, the Chronicles of Riddick next on TNT.